Maharashtra, the 288-member assembly witnessed a spirited campaign on both sides. It's Mahavikas Aghadi on one side, which saw the momentum in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. But of course, there's also the Mahayuti, which is the ruling coalition, which is riding on its flagship welfare program. Not just slogans such as "Ek hai to safe hai," but even Bitcoin and cash for votes controversies came into this campaign. And this election is particularly important because this is the financial capital of the country, critical for its economy. Also a state that has seen multiple wars for symbols and name, 3 chief ministers in 5 states and in 5 years, and 4 deputy chief ministers. And all of this make these polls center around that one big question: will Maharashtra finally see political stability in the state, and will people of the state actually give a decisive mandate or not?
Right, and of course, the other important state is that of Jharkhand, where the counting, as we were mentioning, was going to, in fact, it's already 8 a.m. Counting has, in a few seconds from now, the counting will begin. The battle was witnessed in Jharkhand between the ruling JMM-led India bloc, which is looking forward to holding on to power, and the BJP-led NDA opposition, which is anticipating and expecting that their campaign would pay off in replacing the Soren government in the state this year. Remember, there was a pitched battle in the state where the BJP primarily targeted the JMM Congress combined in terms of the corruption allegations against Hemant Soren, and also the infiltration angle that they have in fact blamed the government there for tribals' rights in a way being taken away by infiltrators from Bangladesh. There we can see the live images coming in. This is from the images from Jharkhand, which we are seeing, where activity has in a way begun at the counting centers there. We have, of course, got our reporters spread out across the country from the battleground states of Maharashtra and Jharkhand, but also in the states which are witnessing by-elections as well. Right. I also would want to introduce in the studio, we have Professor Sandeep Shastri, who is, of course, the national coordinator of the Lok Niti Network. He also joins us. We will, of course, also have a panel of experts along with Professor Shastri, who will be decoding the results as they trickle in for us this morning.
But let me also remind our viewers that, Tanima, the counting for all these assembly seats and bypolls, of course, will begin now, but with postal ballots that are reserved for specific groups, including those with disability, security personnel, and certain government employees who are involved in essential services. Following this is when the EVMs will open. Their votes will be tallied. So by midday is when we can expect the trends to consolidate and a clearer picture to come out. It's going to take some time because Maharashtra is a huge state, and we also have Jharkhand. It's an 81-member assembly, and of course the 42 bypolls which have taken place. Of course, the point to remember here is the early trends can be misleading, and that is something we will have to continuously remember.
That's right. Let's go across to our reporters now first, who are joining us from the ground there. First to Maharashtra, where I believe I have my colleagues Radhika and Abira who are joining us. Radhika from Worli and Abira from Dahisar. Radhika, coming to you first. You're, of course, reporting from Worli, which is seen one of the key contests, Sena versus Sena contest there in Worli between Uddhav Thackeray and Milind Deora. But first, give us an understanding. There were, of course, late evening meetings which were supposed to take place yesterday, both from the Mahayuti side as well as the MVA side. Also, we saw certain MVA leaders mentioning that they're going to keep all their candidates in Mumbai, considering the kind of instability and the realignments that we have seen taking place in Maharashtra several times in the past few years. So is that the strategy that both sides are adopting, to keep their flock very close to themselves even before the results start coming in?
Absolutely, that is the strategy. They don't want to leave any stone unturned in ensuring that the flock stays together. In fact, they have to ensure that they stay together, and that is priority as far as both MV and Mahayuti are concerned. And it is expectedly so, considering what has happened, especially over the last few years. There have been all kinds of splits and realignments that have happened, and it is a sort of a sticky wicket as far as both the alliance groups are concerned, which is why what we are hearing is that they have booked booked a few hotels in Mumbai, but that's also required for government formation. So for government formation, they require all their MLAs to also come to Mumbai. So that's one of the reasons why, all these, some of the hotels have been booked. But again, if it is a hung assembly and if there could be chances of talks between the alliances, perhaps MVA parties reaching out to some of the Mahayuti parties, candidates reaching out to candidates from the other parties, then they have to make sure that, they're all in one place, safe and secure, and they're not lured by the other side. So yes, that's what we are hearing, which is why multiple discussions took place yesterday. There was a meeting with the BJP leaders, Devendra Fadnavis, Bhupendra Yadav taking meetings with BJP leaders. Post that, there was a meeting of Congress leaders as well, both Nana Patole, Ramesh Chennitala, speaking to all the candidates, all the leaders of the Congress party. Meeting between Sena leaders as well, both Sena Eknath Shinde as well as Sena Uddhav Thackeray, who held discussions with his members, his leaders, his cadres. So that has happened, and that will happen in the next few hours as well. This is to ensure their flock stays together, one, and also to understand the probabilities that could arise. There are all kinds of permutations and combinations that are being worked right now. So if it is a hung assembly, if they do not have the numbers, both respective MVA or Mahayuti, then what is the strategy going forward? Which are the candidates they could reach out to? Which are the rebel candidates they could reach out to? Which are the independents? Which are the smaller parties they could take help of? So all this are being discussed, but to us, both the parties, both the alliances have been projecting a very confident front. They both say that they are going to get a clear landslide majority. However, backdoor talks are still going on because they don't want to sort of leave anything to chance. So all the strategies being worked out. And yes, the priority is to make sure the flock stays together, which is something that we didn't see in the last few years. The flock did not stay together. Time and again, they'd been wandering here and there. This time, they don't want that.
So the Jharkhand numbers have started coming in. Thank you, Radhika, for that important update. BJP leading in about, NDA leading in 2 and India bloc leading in 1. But remember, these are just the postal ballots that are being counted. It's an 81-member assembly. It's also not a extremely small state. So we'll have to wait and watch the spirited campaign between Hemant Soren-led JMM versus the NDA there. And of course, a lot of that was centered around protection of tribal identity. And of course, this narrative, this aggressive narrative around infiltration and how from Bangladesh, which is allegedly causing reduction in tribal numbers. So quite a high-pitched campaign there. But of course, the welfare was something that was also something that took center stage when it came to Jharkhand. The numbers have started coming in. You can have a look at that on our screens. But also going across to my colleague Anuj. Anuj, it's very important to understand here that for Uddhav Thackeray, this is more than a battle of just a pursuit of power, because this is also about his survival. And because, Eknath Shinde, there are about 53 seats, which is direct Sena versus Sena fight. So Uddhav Thackeray, for him, it is very important to make a mark there. In the Lok Sabha elections of 2024, he won 9 out of 15 seats, which was not really considered that great. In fact, Eknath Shinde had a better strike rate. How important is this election outcome for Uddhav Thackeray? And also help us understand yesterday's statements by people like Sanjay Rawat saying that the Chief Minister will be decided when everybody gets together, because that was always a point of contention. Congress had a problem with even declaring Eknath Shinde as a Chief Ministerial face, which is also the reason why Uddhav Thackeray broke away from the BJP alliance in the past.
Uddhav Thackeray won 9 out of 21 seats, not 15, and that means that the strike rate is even less, right? And which is why, because the reason is that Uddhav Thackeray was seen as the face of the Mahavikas Aghadi going into the Lok Sabha election. And when we saw the results come out, it was the Congress party which got the majority of the seats from the MV, and it was the Sharad Pawar faction of the NCP which had the best strike rate. And therein we saw that some way the weakest wing in the entirety of Mahavikas Aghadi was Uddhav Thackeray, if not seat-wise, but when you look at the strike rate, and that has put the party in a sort of a tumultuous situation, because leading up to the state assembly election, the Shiv Sena UBT faction wanted it the same way as it was in Lok Sabha election. They wanted Uddhav Thackeray to be the face of the campaign, and they also wanted him to be declared as the face of the chief ministership before the election. But given the results of the Lok Sabha, the Congress especially did not want to do that, considering that their stakes had now increased in the state after their after their very good performance in the Lok Sabha election, where they won close to 13 plus one being the independent candidate who offered his support to the Congress party out of the 17 seats that they contested. And we saw this, these fights reflect into the kind of perception that people got of MVA, and one example of that would be the seat sharing debates. The seat sharing debates, especially in places like Vidarbha, went on till the very last moment. And the problem that many of the parties, and especially the Congress party and earlier BJP seem to have with Uddhav Thackeray faction of Shiv Sena is the fact that it becomes, it's very less flexible when it comes to making compromises in places where they do not have a stronghold. Vidarbha, for that matter, has been a Congress stronghold for the longest period of time. But we saw that the Uddhav Thackeray faction of Shiv Sena tried their level best to get as many as Congress's seats as possible. But that was a problem, given that they don't even have a candidate or a strong, foundation in the places where they wanted to contest. And these are being looked at as factors which might, result in the Shiv Sena's poor performance as far as the exit poll predictions are concerned. But the Shiv Sena UBT faction is very confident of proving that wrong. They believe that the Mumbai and the Konkan voters, Konkan, mind you, went with the Shinde Sena and the BJP with Narayan Rane's stronghold, who is a very strong leader there in the coastal region. And Mumbai, we also saw, as we spoke earlier, was very easily split, where the Marathi voters seemed to have gone with the Shinde faction, whereas it was the minority votes that the Uddhav Thackeray faction got. Will it be the same this time around? It will be interesting to see, because it will be a litmus test in not just Mumbai or Konkan, but also in places like Marathwada, which has got a very strong Marathi population, in places like Vidarbha, where Uddhav Thackeray tried his level best to get many seats, and especially in places like Paschim Maharashtra, that is the Western Maharashtra, where NCP Sharad Pawar faction has been the stronger party for the longest period of time. But we see that Uddhav Thackeray faction, which is contesting on as many as 96 seats, has also contested several seats there. So their strike rate in this election will determine a lot when it comes to the future of that particular party.
He's also banking a lot on Vidarbha because it has a maximum number of seats, 62, and of course on Western Maharashtra, which is where the Mahayuti is not extremely confident about, but of course that also has a high number of seats, 59. But it is North Maharashtra, which is where the tribal seats are, Nashik and all those places, and of course the other places like Marathwada, like you mentioned, which is where the BJP faced the maximum setback in 2024 Lok Sabha elections. That is where I think the battle is going to be, like you rightly pointed out. For some reason, Mumbai and Konkan seem to be a lot about Sena versus Sena, and here every party seems to be ensuring that it does its best when it comes to a direct fight, Sena versus Sena, Pawar versus Pawar, BJP versus Congress. So that seems to be the crux of the battle here.
Right, and different strategies being adopted for all these different political regions in Maharashtra. Complex election there, to say the least. Let me also quickly go across to Abira, who is joining us from Dahisar, Borivali region. Abira, you are standing at one of the locations in the Mumbai metropolitan region, which saw a high voter turnout. And this time we have seen a record turnout as far as women voters are concerned in Maharashtra. Women, of course, have been one of the crucial vote banks in multiple areas this elections. But specifically, the Mahayuti has, of course, been banking on their Ladki Bahan scheme to get them dividends in this election. So is that one of the things which has, of course, resonated with the women voters in Maharashtra in terms of the women vote bank? If you can kindly elaborate for our viewers more on that.
Yes, of course, the women voters are attracted to that. And of course, I think in Borivali and Dahisar, the thing is the sitting MLA here is a woman. She has been campaigning profusely. She's going out and talking to the women. Her name is Manisha Chaudhary. And but the confusion here is the sitting MLA who is from BJP and the other candidate who is Vinod Ghosalkar. Both of them have made made they have same promises to the people. So people here who are like 2.7 lakh people in Dahisar who who have voted, they were confused while voting that whom to vote. But we have to tell you that Vinod Ghosalkar has a soft corner among the people because his son Abhishek Ghosalkar was murdered on Facebook live by Morris. So since then there is a sympathy with Vinod Ghosalkar. So we have to wait and watch what happens. But the women supporters, the women voters are all going out there and putting out their demands. And I think BJP candidate Manisha Chaudhary, the sitting MLA, is doing whatever she can to impress them.
Right, Abhira. So these are certain seats where the alliance doesn't seem to be working that much. We've seen the same in Nashik. We've seen the same thing when it came to Nashik. And this not working aspect only applies to the seat sharing, because when it comes to coordination amongst workers or what voters want, that's a different game altogether. And that is something we'll get to know today. And there have been these disagreements when it came to seat sharing, both in the Mahavikas Aghadi and Mahayuti. But Mahayuti seem to have handled it better, at least in terms of optics, because there are fewer seats in which there are these friendly and not so friendly fights, Tanima.
Right, exactly. Let's bring in Professor Shastri at this point. Professor Shastri, if you can just tell us your initial understanding of this. Who has the edge in Maharashtra?
From the reports that we have heard since morning and over the last few days, for me at least one thing is clear. There is clear predictability about the visible unpredictability about how this result will go. And that's because it's an extremely close fight. This alliance pattern has never been seen in Maharashtra in a previous assembly election. People have always been making the point that Maharashtra has never seen a single party majority for quite some time, which is true. But then there was till 2019 a stability of the alliances. And that stability has this time been broken, and the three parties' peace in each alliances are fighting an assembly election together for the first time. And that, I think, is what makes this election in Maharashtra unpredictable and also very close. And as you rightly said, I think the fight is clearly in certain regions. What will be important to watch as we proceed today is who is the weak link in both the parties. Because it's that weak link which is pulling possibly the party down. And lastly, I would say, recent trends in elections has shown somebody loses the election because of which somebody wins the election.
Right.
And are you going to see that in Maharashtra and Jharkhand also today?
Right. That's very interesting. Let me go across to Prabhakar, because Jharkhand poll outcomes will also be out today. But before that, let me go to Sam Daniel, because Wayanad is where Priyanka Gandhi could be making her electoral debut from. If she becomes an MP, all Gandhis will be in the parliament, which in itself is quite something to watch out for. Sam, tell us, what does this mean for the Gandhi Parivar, and also for that matter, what does this mean for Priyanka Gandhi? Because she started her electoral journey by being the General Secretary in charge of UP, and she was not able to make that kind of mark when it came to political successes. She came up with a slogan, "Ladki hu, lad sakti hu," but Congress did not really perform that well in the assembly elections of UP. And after that, she of course had other roles to play in the party, and this time she could be becoming an MP. It's a safe seat. Tell us, you went to Wayanad, tell us what was the mood like, and what are the larger implications for the Congress party and for the Gandhi family once Priyanka Gandhi becomes an MP?
Vasudha and Tanima, Priyanka Gandhi fighting from a seat where Rahul Gandhi was twice elected, that has given them that kind of a comfort level. But the challenge for Priyanka Gandhi is to make sure she making a debut this time. She wants to really make it big, come with a bang kind of a thing. So her team hopes for a win much bigger than what Rahul had secured second time. He had won with a margin of 3.5 lakh. They hope to go beyond 4 lakh, but the voting percentage was slightly lesser this time. But will that still work for the advantage? That's something we'll have to wait and watch. It's a triangular contest with the CPI fielding Satyan Mukerji and BJP fielding Navya Haridas. The political significance would be for the Congress to have the Gandhi family member represent this Congress seat from the south, and also to have a stronger woman face to fight to be part of the Congress team on the floor of the house. That's the bigger, larger message the Congress is trying to send. Since Rahul Gandhi has shifted to Raebareli, there will be a Gandhi family member still representing from the southern part of India, and to have a high-profile, stronger, well-known face, and nothing like Priyanka Gandhi making a debut and also filling up that kind of a space on the floor of House. That's what the Congress hopes. In terms of the issues, well, the Congress had taken up the issue of what they call the central government, the BJP-led central government, in a sense abandoning the landslide ravaged Wayanad. But the other two parties, be it the BJP or the left, they had targeted Priyanka Gandhi, calling her as an outsider, saying that she could actually abandon Wayanad just the way, as they call it. Rahul Gandhi didn't have much time for Wayanad in the past. So that was the political angle these parties had taken on. But the Congress, looking at the track record in terms of Rahul's victory twice there, they're supremely confident that Priyanka Gandhi will be able to comfortably win, possibly win with a larger margin as well.
Right. Thank you, Sam Daniel, for joining us. Wayanad battle, an important battle for the Congress party. In fact, there was a lot of criticism that the Congress party actually, ignored large parts of the Maharashtra and Jharkhand campaign because many leaders had to go to Wayanad to support this campaign. But that apart, the numbers, the leads have started coming in. You can see them on our screens. But these are, remember, just postal ballots. Early leads often, are not really indicative of victory. But of course, these are the leads that are coming in. 27 leads for NDA in Maharashtra, and of course 6 for the Mahavikas Aghadi. In Jharkhand, the BJP is leading in one seat, and BJP is leading in 3 seats, and of course the JMM is also leading in one seat, in 3 seats, and NDA in 7 is what the leads we have right now. Let me also go across to Mahesh Verma, who joins us. He is from the BJP. Mr. Verma, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. Sir, I know that exit polls have often gone wrong, but out of the 10 exit polls that have come out, there are about 6 which have given you a comfortable victory. There are about, there's one that is saying that it could be a hung assembly, and the rest, 3 of them have given the edge to Mahavikas Aghadi. How confident are you of making a comfortable victory in the state of Maharashtra, given that the state is known to, throw up surprises?
देखिए, मैं ये सबसे पहले बताना चाहूँगा आपको कि जिस प्रकार से महाराष्ट्र में लोकसभा चुनाव के रिजल्ट हमारे अगेंस्ट में थे, जिस प्रकार से वहाँ पर एक माहौल था, जिस प्रकार से हम चुनाव में जाने से पहले हमारे को लेके एक झूठ का बाजार गर्म किया गया, वो कम से कम हम लोगों ने पहले से उसका अच्छे से जो पॉलिटिकल इंतजाम, पॉलिटिकल मैनेजमेंट हमें जो करना था, उसको हमने सामने रख के, और महाराष्ट्र में जो हमारे पास मुद्दे थे, जो हमारे वर्कर्स थे, जो हमारे हर एक क्षेत्र में हर एक रीजन के हिसाब से जो हमें पॉलिटिकल मैनेजमेंट करने थे, उसको हमने बखूबी किया।
राइट।
वहाँ जिस प्रकार से हमें पब्लिक सपोर्ट मिला, जिस प्रकार से रोड शो में लोगों के उत्साह देखने को मिले, जिस प्रकार से प्रधानमंत्री जी के जो भी जनसभाएं हुई, उसमें देखिए जिस तरह का जन सैलाब था, वो कहीं जाहिर करता था कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ जो है वहाँ कहीं न कहीं पब्लिक खड़ी है।
राइट।
अब सवाल यह है कि आज के नतीजे जो है कहीं न कहीं उसको स्थापित करेंगे, और जो चुनाव का रिजल्ट हमें लोकसभा के जब चुनाव हुए और जो नतीजे उसमें हमें मिले, उससे इतर नतीजे जो है आज हमें मिलेंगे, ये हमें पूर्ण विश्वास है।
Thank you, Mr. Verma. All the best for you. We also have Adil Singh Boparai from the Congress Party joining us. Adil, we've talked about this earlier as well. What is your expectation from Maharashtra? Because this was not just the Congress's battle. Despite the Congress Party actually performing the best amongst all parties in Lok Sabha elections in Maharashtra, there was a lot of back and forth between the MVA allies. So clearly the Congress was not in a stronger position. In Vidarbha also, you had to give away seats to the UBT Sena. Would you say that the Congress party could have done better in terms of handling this work of coordination?
Well, I respectfully disagree with you, because when you go to the hustings in a collaboration with the other alliance partners. Of course, there has to be a bit of give and take. But there was absolute synergy amongst us and our allies, whether it was Mr. Uddhav Thackeray or Mr. Sharad Pawar. We ran a very, very progressive campaign. Of course, the voters today in the course will decide which party do they want to really give a mandate. But we ran a progressive campaign. We ran a campaign of inclusivity. We ran a campaign of justice, social economic justice. We spoke about the real issues. If there was any formation which really spoke about issues like inflation, unemployment, agrarian crisis, deteriorating law and order, it was the Congress party and our allies. On the contrary, and in contrast, what you saw, the BJP was indulging in rabble-rousing, dog-whistling politics, divisiveness. So today the voter has to decide, we've done our bit, we've taken our agenda to the people. Today the voter has to decide whether he wants to choose justice over injustice, inclusivity over hate. And more specifically, 4 of our key pillar promises, whether it was the Mahalakshmi scheme, about 3,000 rupees to the women in Maharashtra, whether it was the loan waiver, whether it was an unemployment stipend. So all these are very, very progressive ideas. I think we are very hopeful. There was a lot of resonance on the ground to our ideas, to our promises. And finally, I think the voters of Maharashtra and Jharkhand, for that matter, have realized that the BJP has used every trick in the book to demolish democracy. How the current government was broken, how we and Mr. Uddhav Thackeray's party, how our government was broken, our MLAs were poached, and an illegitimate government was formed in Maharashtra.
Right. Adil there, thank you so much. We've, of course, also got our reporters, Prabhakar there, reporting from Ranchi in Jharkhand. Prabhakar, the early numbers, as Vasudha had been pointing out, these are, of course, postal ballots which are being counted. But at the moment, what we can see is that there are 13 seats in which the NDA is leading, 14 as we speak, and the India bloc leading in 6 seats. These are, of course, very, very early days. Yeah. Nothing much should be read out of this at the moment. But you were, of course, telling us that primarily it lies with the tribal vote bank and the women voters in Jharkhand who are going to be decisive, the deciders as to who will be coming to power in the state.
Yeah, exactly. And as far as the numbers are concerned, we should actually hold our horses. We should wait for one more hour to go. We should let this postal ballot be counted first, and then the real figures would start trickling in. So as of now, we should not be reading these numbers actually and reading nothing. These numbers actually mean nothing to viewers or for that matter as far as the poll results are concerned. Now talking about the women voters and the tribal voters, of course, they were the epicenter. First, the tribals were there, then the women, and then the youth. And that's the reason why both the factions, whether it's the India bloc, whether it was NDA, they were trying to lure and target these three section of voters. Tribals were the topmost priority, and that's the reason why you saw the narrative of the Bangladeshi immigrants being floated by BJP on the ground, and where they went on to add that the JMM was trying to settle these Bangladeshi immigrants on the ground, which was eventually eating into the resources meant for tribals. So that was in a way actually to lure the tribal voters. Then the women voters, we have seen the Maiya Samman Yojana by JMM, 1,000 rupees per month being already paid to them. 4 months of payment has already hit their accounts, and now the JMM has promised that if this vote is back to power, it would be increased to 2,500 rupees per month. In addition to that, the BJP has promised Go Didi Yojana, where it would give 2,100 rupees per month stipend to women below the poverty line. So these were the segments actually who would be the deciding force, and it will be a very interesting battle whether BJP is able to dent into the tribal vote bank, which is traditionally the JMM's vote bank, and JMM as a political party has thrived on the tribal support here in Jharkhand.
Right, thank you, Prabhakar, for joining us with those details. The leads are up on your screen. 45 leads for the NDA in the state of Maharashtra, and for the Mahayuti in the state of Maharashtra, and MVA leading in about 9. And in Jharkhand, it's the NDA that's leading in 17 seats and 6 leads for the India bloc. So remember, these are all postal ballots. We'll have to wait for some time to understand some consolidation of leads happening there. Let me also go across to my colleague Aishwarya, who joins us responses from the BJP headquarters. Aishwarya, this is an important battle for the BJP because there are two important issues here. The parliament session begins from Monday, and the BJP will not want to give any chance, any opportunity to the opposition to have any edge over this when it comes to issues. It wants the House to run properly. And on the other hand, it also wants the blemish of 2024 Lok Sabha elections, where it faced setback in states like UP and Maharashtra specifically, to be forgotten, to be seen as an aberration. So what is at stake here? And also tell us what is happening in the BJP office, because a lot of jalebi is being served in BJP office this day. The party is also wanting to make a political statement with that sweet that is now associated with the Congress's failure in Haryana.
Well, certainly the Bharatiya Janata Party leaders have stated that they will not go with the exit poll predictions. Of course, they will wait for the results, because last time as well, the BJP leaders have called out for the exit polls predictions. As far as the Maharashtra polls are concerned, they had been stating that they will wait till 11 or 12 to get a final picture, and only after that big political leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party will come outside. On the other side, in Jharkhand, BJP seems very confident, but at the BJP headquarters, of course, you call it early celebrations, or you call it preparations for celebrations, something that we are looking at, because still, over here, what we are witnessing is preparation for the breakfast. Of course, jalebis being prepared early morning. We saw how every elections halwas being prepared at the BJP headquarters, but this time it is, of course, jalebis being prepared here with puri, sabzi and other key dishes. But on the other side, what we saw during the Haryana polls, of course, it was Congress headquarters who had early in the morning had prepared jalebis and started distributing, because they were very confident of the Haryana elections. But at around 10 or 11, when the picture changed a bit, it was Bharatiya Janata Party, who distributed almost 100 kgs of jalebis, and this time it is, of course, the BJP who is early morning, preparing these jalebis. The leaders have given, of course, the Karyakartas about how much the jalebi should be distributed. Of course, it was a flashpoint between the BJP and the Congress. Jalebis is something that was much talked about, but let's see who will taste these jalebis after the election results, whether it is the Congress or the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Details, sweets being prepared, snacks being prepared. Of course, this is an important day for not just the BJP, but also the Congress party and all the regional parties that are involved here, because many implications, many consequences there. The parliament session is starting from Monday, so both parties would want to have a stronger position for themselves. And of course, apart from that, the BJP would want to show that the 2024 Lok Sabha elections was the setback that it faced was not really the mood of the country, and it's Haryana that's something that is something reflective of the mood of the country. But of course, the MVA and the JMM there also wanting to make their point. Let me go across to my colleague Anurag, who joins us from Madhya Pradesh. Anurag, very important Budhni elections happening there, and in the last few months, we've also seen Shivraj Singh's stature improving nationally. He is the agricultural minister, rural development minister, and in Delhi, he actually has a lot of control over these two large departments which have the maximum number of bureaucrats. Tell us, how important is this bypoll for the stature of someone like Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who, of course, that came into question because Mohan Yadav was made the chief minister, understandably, without him being in know of the situation.
Yes, but unfortunately, I was listening to my colleagues, but no puri or jalebi or laddus in Madhya Pradesh. But as you pointed out, it's a very important election for Shivraj Singh Chauhan. I mean, he's not contesting, but it's his bastion. And last time he won the seat by a margin of more than 1,04,000. So in Budhni, all the experts are saying is just all about the margin, because Ramakant Bhargav is a very close associate of Shivraj Singh Chauhan. He's contesting from Budhni, and the Congress has fielded Rajkumar Patel, a former minister in the Digvijay Singh cabinet. He won the seat in 1993, but after 2006, it was all about Shivraj Singh Chauhan. And Budni was the seat. It comes under the Vidisha, Lok Sabha seat, from where Shivraj Singh Chauhan is the member of parliament, and it gave Shivraj Singh Chauhan a lead of 1,25,000 during the Lok Sabha elections. And the second seat is Vijaypur, from where it has a history of Congress candidate winning from Vijaypur, and out of 15 elections there, Congress won the seat 9 times. And but out of these 9 times, 6 times the seat was won by Ram Nivas Rawat, who resigned from the Congress, and now he's with the BJP. He's a cabinet minister in Dr. Mohan Yadav's cabinet, handling the portfolio of forest and environment. So and from there, the Congress has fielded Mukesh Malhotra, a tribal leader. During the last elections, he contested as an independent candidate and secured around 41,000 votes. So it's a tough fight for Mr. Ram Nivas Rawat there in Vijaypur. But in Budni, everyone is saying that, the only difference will be the number of votes in favor of Mr. Ramakant Bhargav.
Thank you, Anurag, for joining us with those details. Former Minister Ram Nivas Rawat, who was a congressman earlier, now in the BJP, his future is at stake from Vijaypur. And of course, Ramakant Bhargav, seen as a close associate of Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Union Minister of Agriculture, Rural Development, now formerly the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. He is also in the fray. Interesting elections there in Madhya Pradesh. We also have Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist, joining us. Neerja ji, in the Lok Sabha elections of 2024, it was Uddhav Thackeray who won 9 seats out of 21 and Eknath Shinde winning 7 out of 15. Eknath Shinde's strike rate was considered better than Uddhav Thackeray's, and this time it's going to be a crucial election as well. Do you see this as a battle of survival for Uddhav Thackeray?
I wouldn't say battle of survival. You can never write off anybody in Indian politics. Somebody like Narasimha Rao had packed up his bags, was going home. He was retiring from politics, and suddenly he becomes the Prime Minister of India. So given our Indian politics, you cannot say that. But certainly it's a very important contest. Does he represent the Sena electorally, or does Eknath Shinde represent the Sena? In Lok Sabha, his strike rate was the lowest among the NDA partners. Congress had 13, Sharad Pawar 8 out of 10, very high strike rate, and Uddhav Thackeray's strike rate was the lowest. So now again we need to see whether it is going to be equally poised or Shinde will get better. And if this is the kind of lead, I mean, this is only through the through the postal ballots, but if this kind of a lead is retained, then that shows Shinde will be also doing well. It's not only the BJP.
Absolutely.
Other partners will also be doing well. Yes. So yes, it's very critical for Uddhav Thackeray, because so far his stand has been, okay, the MLAs have left me, but the ground level Senics are still with me, and they matter. They are the people who are the face of the Sena with the ordinary people. I know in colonies people say, we will vote for the Sena. Why? Because हमारा सारा काम कराते हैं.
Yes.
कुछ भी चाहिए तो हमारा काम होता है. We can go to them. So, but is he losing out at that level also? Is the reason that he's moved away from what the core group says, the ideology of Hindutva, and relying on Muslim support, which is one of the criticism. But of course, then every party transforms as time goes on. But it's a very critical election, no doubt.
Professor Shastri, would you also say that in the last few months, this Ladki Bahin Yojana came up, electricity for farmers came up, and Mr. Shinde was also in some ways able to project his image as someone who's accessible, who's a common man, vis-a-vis someone like Uddhav Thackeray, who's elite and who is seen as inaccessible. Do you think Mr. Shinde has been successful in doing that?
So it's often misleading to read an assembly poll on the basis of a Lok Sabha poll, even though they are so close. Because the issues in a Vidhan Sabha poll are very, very different. Yes. And the numbers also change quite dramatically. You are right in saying that since the Lok Sabha election, the government in Maharashtra has been making a concerted attempt to try and focus on people's welfare schemes. And the Ladki Bahin Yojana, I think, has done quite a miracle for the party in that sense, because our study in October showed that nearly 80% people said We have heard of it, and nearly 70% people said somebody from our family has benefited from it. So yes, that is a critical factor. And the second point you made, that Shinde being projected as a prominent Maratha leader within that alliance, and being made the chief minister and remaining as chief minister, I think was a critical factor in the whole social coalition that they were trying to construct of bringing the Maratha vote in. So today will tell us whether actually both these strategies have worked effectively or not. And I think the Mahayuti is hinging its success on these two very, very critical elements.
Right. Coming to you, Nija ma'am, as far as Jharkhand is concerned, of course, a lot of exit polls have given Mahayuti the edge. But do you see a scenario where the smaller parties will have a role to play in Jharkhand, because there is a tight contest there, according to certain exit polls, between the JM Congress combined and the BJP on the other side?
Yeah, if it is a very close contest, which some believe it will be, because from the beginning it's been billed as a takkar between two sides. But of late, there are both kinds of stories, that a feedback that has been coming. One, that the BJP had moved ahead because of a variety of reasons: anti-incumbency against Soren, corruption, and also recent days stories have been coming. There is an anti-outsider sentiment. Now, anti-outsider sentiment is of a kind that not the locals, and I don't mean the tribal versus non-tribal, but people from outside have taken leadership in Jharkhand, and there has been a reaction. I don't know how strong this sentiment is, how relevant it's going to be, but certainly there have been voices expressing this.
Right.
If I could just add a point to that. Traditionally, the JMM and its supporters have been doing well in the tribal region, whereas the BJP has been doing well in the non-tribal region. I think the key to the success in this election is how well does the JMM do in the non-tribal regions, even as it holds on to its tribal support, and how well does the BJP-led alliance do in the tribal regions, even as it holds on to its support in the non-tribal regions. So I think the advantage of making inroads into the opposite camp's support base is what is going to be critical in this particular election in Jharkhand.
So that's why we saw the most aggressive campaign of the BJP in both Santal Parganas and Kulhan. They also got Champai Soren on their side. So while we talk about Maharashtra and Jharkhand, there are also bypolls that happened across the country. Let me go across to Harsha, who joins us from Nagaur. Harsha, while the bypolls, the 7 bypolls that happened in Rajasthan are extremely critical for Hanuman Beniwal, the Jat strongman, or for that matter, Kirori Lal Meena, the maverick politician, but also the Bharatiya Adivasi Party, a fledgling party that actually made a lot of mark in Lok Sabha elections and also in the assembly polls. Tell us, how are the smaller parties actually, stacking up when it comes to the possible outcome here?
Well, yes, I'm very glad you asked me this question about the Bharatiya Adivasi Party. Really, in South Rajasthan, there is a new kind of tribal identity that is at play that we can see on the ground. The Bharatiya Adivasi Party started off as the BTP, and now, of course, it's split and it's the BAP. And they really have, made a mark in the south part of Rajasthan, and I think they're going to be a problem both for the Congress and the BJP in the years to come. So that seat of Chaurasi, where you remember Rajkumar Roth, who is the BAP leader, he's become the Lok Sabha MP, the first MP from the party. And there, the kind of identity politics that you can see. I mean, you have the BJP who's saying the tribals are Hindus. You have the tribals who are saying we are not Hindus. Some tribals are saying we are Hindus. So really, that's the fight for the tribal identity in South Rajasthan. Now, as far as Hanuman Beniwal is concerned and the RLP, you're talking about smaller parties. Well, here it's all about the Jat vote. Remember, the Jat vote is very crucial in Rajasthan. And when Atal Bihari Vajpayee put the Jats into the OBC category in the 90s, that's when the party got 120 seats in Rajasthan, which was that election that Vasundhara Raje fought. So, of course, we saw that the Jat vote in the Lok Sabha elections kind of shifted away from the BJP because of the farm law agitation, or even because of the agitation over the Agniveer issue. Now we are seeing that these seats, which are really crucial, Jhunjhunu, Keemsar, which is where I am, Nagaur, these seats are very, very important, because if the BJP regains these seats, it means that there's again been a kind of a shift in this kind of caste arithmetic. Also, the most obvious is, of course, that, you know, it's a litmus test for the Bhajan Lal government. It comes exactly 1 year after Bhajan Lal took over as Chief Minister of Rajasthan. Nobody knew who he really was. He was the person, backbencher in the BJP, suddenly catapulted to a leadership role. Vasundhara Raje has not been very active, of course, ever since that happened. So somewhere it's going to be a litmus test, not only for Bhajan Lal, the Chief Minister, and 1 year of his governance, but also it will be a litmus test for the entire BJP leadership, because most of them are new faces. So how has that gamble paid off of creating a new rung of leadership in Rajasthan? That's the most obvious fallout of these by-elections. Very crucial, I have to say, for state politics. There'll definitely be political indicators. And of course, that slapgate that we saw, you know, Naresh Meena, who left the Congress, stood as an independent in Devli Oniara talk, made headlines there. That seat is also going to have results coming out this morning.
Right, significant results will come out from Rajasthan there as well. Harsha, stay with us. I'm also joined by my colleague Ratnadeep, who's tracking all the by-elections which took place in multiple seats across the northeast, 5 contests in Assam and 1 in Meghalaya. Ratnadeep, all eyes, of course, will be whether or not BJP and its allies will be able to hold on to the 4 seats that they had, in fact, won earlier in the region among all these seats which had gone to bypolls.
That's right. In fact, as we speak, the counting for the postal ballots continue in the counting centers for this 5 bypoll seats, which actually got negotiated after their sitting MLAs contested the Lok Sabha elections and won. And among these 5 seats, 4 are with the BJP and allies, 1 with the Congress. And the contest is there for that 1 seat, which is with the Congress, Samaguri, a Muslim majority seat, which is a Congress stronghold. Remember, since 2001, Congress heavyweight from Assam, former Minister Rakibul Hussain, who this time contested the Lok Sabha elections and from Dhubri and won with one of the highest margins in the country, had represented Samaguri, and this time he has fielded his son, 26-year-old Tanzil Hussain. But Samaguri had been in news because there have been major pre-poll violence causing death of a person. They have been firing on the convoy of a BJP MLA. The Congress candidate has been attacked. In fact, we were reporting from Samaguri on the day of the polling, and while we were reporting live, there were skirmishes happening in our backdrop that NDTV brought to the viewers in terms of the intense fight that is there between the BJP and the Congress there. The BJP has fielded young leader, State Unit General Secretary Diplu Ranjan Sharma. So BJP want to win that seat back from Congress and make a dent into the Congress stronghold. But what is important to note here is that the rest of the 4 seats where the BJP has an upper hand, there would be a test for the Congress, particularly in the Bihali seat, where you have a BJP turncoat contesting on a Congress ticket, and these is a seat where Gaurav Gogoi, who is seen as the emerging face in terms of Congress leadership in Assam, had campaigned there heavily. So this is a test for Gaurav Gogoi as well. It is a test for the second-rank leadership of the BJP as well, because they had spearheaded the campaign this time in Assam, since Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma was largely busy with the Jharkhand election, though he campaigned at the last moment for party candidates. Sarvanand Sonowal was not seen much, 1 or 2 rallies. So therefore, this is a test for the BJP leadership beyond Sonowal and Sharma in this election versus Congress's emerging face, Gaurav Gogoi. Not to forget the 1 seat which has gone for bypolls in Meghalaya, Gambagre, again a Congress stronghold, where this time the ruling party, the NPP, which leads the the ruling coalition in Meghalaya, their chief and chief minister Minister Conrad Sangma has fielded his wife, Mehtab Chandi Sangma, as the candidate, her electoral debut. So therefore, she is facing a tough fight, given the fact that there are 3 more candidates, including the TMC candidate, who is a wife of a former minister from during Congress time. So therefore, that seat is a prestige battle, given the fact that the Sangma family, remember, have lost their own backyard, the Tura Lok Sabha seats, after years, when Agatha Sangma in the last Lok Sabha election lost that seat. So therefore, it is a test for the Sangmas as well, and Gambagre seat.
Right. Thank you, Ratnadeep, for joining us with those details. 5 crucial assembly polls in the state of Assam, a test for Hemanta Biswa Sharma and also for Gaurav Gogoi, who's emerging as a Congress leader for the state of Assam. Going back to my colleague Anuj, who is reporting for us from Mumbai. Anuj, Maharashtra is where all eyes are on, and the early leads have started coming in, and they are in some way showing a lead for the NDA, although these are just postal ballots being counted. This is a huge state. We'll have to really wait for some time to understand how this consolidation of victory takes place, and even then we will not be really sure if that's actually the government that's going to be formed. Tell us how are political parties getting their preparations in order, because I'm told that there are helicopters on the standby, there are hotel rooms that were booked yesterday. So clearly this is also a projection of confidence, but there's a battle of perception when it comes to Sena versus Sena. How is that battle coming along?
There's a battle of perception throughout the state and also across the different factions here. One thing is for sure is that both the alliances are ready for some sort of unnatural partnerships to take place post the result, because we've seen that there has been some sort of a conflict within both the alliances over several matters. When you talk about Mahayuti, firstly, it's about the chief ministership's face. I mean, of course, in MVA, they made it very clear that, Congress and Rashtravadi did not want to go with the face, but Shiv Sena UBT faction was very much willing to do it. But at the same time, even in Mahayuti, we see that there is not a consensus, because Devendra Fadnavis has been giving hints about coming back to power, but he's also said on multiple times that he's completely out of the race. Then we had Vinod Taude in the center of all the controversies just a day before the polls. We have Eknath Shinde, who made it very clear that Amit Shah had communicated to him that it is under his leadership that the entirety of Mahayuti was fighting the election, which means that the chances of him carrying on as the chief minister, according to the Shinde faction, is very high. But at the same time, they also have the third partner, Ajit Pawar, who's been the deputy chief minister for close to 5 or 6 times and has been very vocal about his willingness to be the chief minister. So when you see all of these things playing out, even in 2019, we saw that one of the major reasons, or if not the actual reason for the Shiv Sena to split away from the pre-poll alliance and part its way away from the Bharatiya Janata Party was, according to them, the BJP not keeping a word of having a 2.5 is to 2.5 years formula as far as the chief ministership is concerned. In this election as well, we can see that just one position of, one executive position can play a very vital role when it comes to deciding the post-poll alliances. Very similar to what happened in 2019. But unlike that, we've seen that especially between the NCP Sharad Pawar faction and the Shinde Sena faction, they both have not really fielded a lot of candidates against each other. And there has been a chatter going around about how, Sharad Pawar and Shinde Sena is keeping their cards open of tying it up with one another if the need comes. One can still not be completely sure about what route is Ajit Pawar faction going to take. Has he parted ways from his uncle for good, or are there ways, for him to make amends? If there's one party which has made its relationship sour with everyone, in the opposition, that is the Uddhav Thackeray faction of Shiv Sena. They have been very vocal and aggressive against, of course, the Bharatiya Janata Party and Shinde Sena for the very basic reason of the party getting split. So we can see very few or less chances of them teaming up. But then, as we heard someone say before, that this is Indian politics and one cannot really predict anything longer term for this. A lot can change in 24 hours. But as of now, we've seen that although the early leads suggest that the Mahayuti would be inching towards the majority mark, but it's just the postal votes. And secondly, one cannot really guarantee that particular alliance to form the government, even if they get the majority mark.
Yes. Nisha ma'am, you heard what my colleague had to say. The psychological advantage that the Mahavikas Aghadi had when the numbers came out in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, with Congress winning 13 seats, the highest, do you think the Congress did enough to retain that edge when it came to the assembly elections?
Well, the general view is that the Congress's campaign was very, very localized. There wasn't a state leader campaigning all over for various constituencies. Rahul Gandhi went as a national leader and did few rallies, but it wasn't like a blitz. But then this time, the Maharashtra election was more about state leaders and less about the national leaders. In fact, people didn't talk about Narendra Modi or Rahul Gandhi at all. They were more interested in Sharad Pawar, Uddhav Thackeray, Devendra Fadnavis, Eknath Shinde, who would make it, what are the possibilities. So I think, but in a localized election, did they put their best foot forward? Because the political families in Maharashtra who control districts, and often they are contending more than one political family pitted against another one. Like Narayan Rane's family, yes, whose two sons are contesting from Sindhudurg, as opposed to the Naik family, yes, who are the foes. So there are many local, I have called this a hyper-local election, the Maharashtra election. Therefore, very difficult to, predict, because there are too many players taking place in action there. So to answer your question, did they put their best foot forward? People feel they didn't put their best foot forward in Jharkhand, certainly.
Yes.
Because they were given 30 seats in that alliance, yes, and 41 to JMM,
yes,
and then to RJD and CPIML. And people felt that, in proportion to what they'd been given, they had not done their best.
And they just campaigned in the seats where the Congress was
that also. But I think it's much more than, it was more an alliance that was there, MVA rather than Congress per se.
Right.
And sympathy for Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray, because they'd been betrayed by their parties. The parties had split. That had played out in the Lok Sabha.
Okay.
Now, does sympathy manifest itself second time over in the same manner?
Right.
Then the other thing that went in their favor was Maratha Muslim and Dalit combination. Did that also weaken? Did the Dalit component of it weaken? Even though Marathas, I think, have been with them.
I think Jarange Patil's, decision to not really contest elections, because in Marathwada, the BJP faced one of its worst setbacks, winning just about one seat. Do you think, Professor Shastri, that was one thing that was key to this election outcome, whatever it is, Maratha factor?
The Maratha factor is going to be critical. I think as the day progresses and as the victories become visible, which way the Maratha vote has gone would be visibly seen, along with the vote of other OBC groups, the scheduled caste vote and the minority vote. I think how these four play out will be seen in the result. But let me draw your attention to one more point, a very critical difference between the Mahayuti and the Aghadi. In the case of the Aghadi, the three parties left each party to focus on the region that they were strong in. So you had Sharad Pawar focusing on North Maharashtra and West Maharashtra. You had the Congress focusing on Vidarbha and the Shiv Sena focusing on Marathwada. Now, did this strategy work? Which means all the three have to pull their strengths to be able to do well in the regions given. On the other hand, in the Ayuti, you notice that the BJP has a majority of the seats across regions, whereas the Shinde Sena is in its pockets and Pawar's NCP is in its pocket. So this is a very different strategy the two followed, and which strategy appears to have the upper hand again is what we will know by 12 o'clock today.
That's right. Of course, the early leads are coming in. For our viewers, if we can just refer to the numbers that we can see on the screens right now. These are, of course, postal ballots which are being counted at this point in time, but the NDA getting a march ahead with 88 lead in 88 seats, and the MVA leading in 50 seats as we speak. And as far as Jharkhand is concerned, it's the NDA which is leading in 32 seats at this point in time, and 16 seats where the India bloc is leading. But these are very early days.
Absolutely. Remember, counting always begins with postal ballots reserved for specific groups, including those with disabilities, security personnel, and certain government employees who are involved in essential services, after which is when the EVMs, they get opened and their votes get tallied. By midday is when we are told early trends will start emerging. And then, of course, the consolidation of leads takes place. But in Maharashtra, it's a tricky situation, because even if the party manages to get the highest number of seats, we're not really sure if it will be part of the government.
So I think it's very good that we are taking this electoral insurance policy
Yes.
at regular intervals. Because I think last time around also there was this excitement about a certain parties doing well in the initial phase and the ultimate result being different. So I think to err on the side of caution is much better, and that's nice that we are doing it today as part of our analysis.
Absolutely. So early trends have started coming in, but they can be misleading. We'll have to wait and watch how this situation pans out. But remember, important elections there, fight for the economy, for the capital of economy, for the financial capital of the country, and also Jharkhand, which is crucial to the tribal identity. Important wars taking place, and of course, 42 bypolls, which will also see Priyanka Gandhi's electoral debut. And if she makes it, all Gandhis will be in the parliament. That itself is going to be interesting.
Right. Time for us to take a very short break, but stay with us. Coming up on the other side, Vishnu Shoma and Maria Shakil.
I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
Cashback has flow, करते नहीं impress. Life would easy, कितना कुछ free, only with single ID. ये भी free, वो भी free, कितना कुछ free, only with single ID. Get it free with single ID. कितने सारे apps से मुझसे जुड़े, brands मेरे पास है सबसे बड़े. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Only with single ID. Get it free with single ID.
Download any single ID partner app, link your card and earn rewards with top brand.
Get it free with single ID.
Good morning and welcome. In the next few hours, the political landscape of India could shift dramatically as the results from the Jharkhand and Maharashtra Assembly elections roll in. With high stakes and even a higher voter turnout, these elections aren't just about local governance, they're a litmus test for national political tides. In Maharashtra, the battle between the BJP-led Mahayuti and the Mahavikas Aghadi promises a fierce contest with implications for regional power dynamics.
Yes, that's Vishnu, and I are joining you at a time when the EVM machines would have opened and the counting for both the states and the bypoll that's happening across a number of states would have begun. In Jharkhand, the outcome will signal whether the JMM Congress coalition can maintain its grip or if the BJP-led NDA will seize control. This isn't just about numbers, it's about the direction of development, policy and leadership in these pivotal states. Stay tuned as we bring you all the live updates, analysis, first reactions from the ground, shaping the future of over 250 million people. Don't miss what promises to be
a political spectacle that could redefine state and national politics. Because, Maria, you would agree, it's not just a state election this time around.
Absolutely.
There has been a certain trend, which we've seen in the Haryana elections. Is that going to be something which could be a factor over here? We're going to really see what happens over here, because there are many elections coming up, but we're going to see where this leads us. So we're going to, what you see on your screens right now, with many, many words of caution.
Yes.
And should we add a few more words?
Yes.
Is very, very early leads. And these cannot be relied on. These are leads and not results. These are postal ballots which are coming in. These are early trends which are coming in. If you are asking when will results be known, I would suppose by about 12 o'clock we'll get
11:30 we'll get direction clear.
a clear direction, and then in the next few hours, these will translate into results.
Yes, absolutely. So at the moment, as we start this broadcast at 9 a.m., NDA, which is the Mahayuti, at 96, Mahavikas Aghadi at 64, and others become important in case if there is a hung assembly, but not at the moment. It appears very different picture, but yes, it's very, very early. It's 9 a.m. The counting of the EVM machines would have just about begun in certain counting centers only, not across Maharashtra or Jharkhand. Looking at the Jharkhand picture, the early leads coming in of more than 50% of 81 seats, NDA there at 35, India Bloc at 18. Of course, it is the JMM, which is the incumbent in Jharkhand. Let's bring in the reporters.
Maria, hang on. Let me ask you a quick question.
Please go ahead.
Do you have any word on hotel bookings in Maharashtra?
Yes, so that's an important point. I was speaking to some sources of mine across parties, and they were telling me that there are preparations underway. Still last evening, none of the sides were confident whether this result in Maharashtra, because it's very, very splintered in terms of 6 parties, Vishnu directly in fray. Both the Congress and the BJP have a part of the Shiva Sena and the NCP. So you really do not know which way this election will go. But I think directionally, there is a sense that has come in. Okay, so there's a triple digit now for the Mahayuti.
No, you're talking about hotels, and I'm reminded,
Yes.
since the split of the Shiv Sena was such an important and pivotal moment in Indian politics, about the hotel politics, as it were, when the Shiv Sena split. They first went to Goa, then they went to Assam, then they went back to Goa,
Yes.
right? And then they went to Maharashtra. And
Yes,
we were
the
tracking them in various hotels all the time.
So, yeah, I think that becomes tough for us because, there are so many hotels, and we tend to finally get the numbers of where. And
Let's
the number
hope it
of
doesn't
booking
go there.
importance.
Let's hope it doesn't go
Early
there. Now we
morning,
want clean
certainly not.
elections. That means we get to work a little less also.
Yes, so let's bring in the reporters. Anuj is joining us. We have Radhika joining us live early this morning, and we also have Abira. Let me begin with you, Radhika. As someone who is in Worli, an important contest between Milind Deora and Aditya Thackeray, what are you picking up? Has the voting, counting of the EVM machines begun? I'm sure the postal ballots are over. What about EVM machines? Has that started?
Yeah, that has started. Counting of EVMs has started in Worli, of course. As you said, this is a high-stakes battle that we saw between Aditya Thackeray and Milind Deora. It's going to be a close contest. Several predict Aditya win. Many others predict Milind win. But, this is what we've been seeing over the last several weeks. Mahayuti very, very confident of their victory. MVA confident of its victory. And it could be hung assembly is what several people are telling us. But if it's going to be hung assembly, more drama post this. And as you were pointing out, as reporters who've been covering this since 2019, we covered 2019 elections as well, and post that the Sena split, NCP split, we were just talking about hotels and resort politics. We did see, when the Sena versus Sena split happened, the number of hotels that all of them were put up in, first Surat and then Guwahati and then Goa. And the discussions really among reporters is, will we have to go to several of these cities and be parked outside many of these hotels? So that is a concern for reporters also, not just the, candidates, leaders and the political parties. But having said that, yes, it is a close contest. Mahayuti versus MVA, unlikely alliances, a lot of realignments we saw in the last several years. So therefore, 2019 drastically different from 2024. In 2024, we are talking about 6 parties and unstable alliances, as one would say, 2 Senas, 2 NCPs. So therefore, yes, although early trends may give Mahayuti some edge and perhaps later MVA some edge, but we'll have to really wait till the end because it's down to the wire really as far as Maharashtra Assembly elections are concerned. Yesterday multiple meetings took place, Sena meetings, BJP meetings, Congress meetings to ensure that their flock stays together, one, and secondly, if it is a hung assembly, who are the independents, who are the rebel candidates, and which are the smaller parties they could perhaps depend on. So yes, it's all down to the wire as far as Maharashtra is concerned. We'll have to wait for a few more hours to understand if it is going to be a clear mandate either for Mahayuti or MVA, or if it's going to be hung assembly, which means it's going to be chaos and confusion for weeks ahead.
Mahayuti at 110, Mahavikas Aghadi at 68, of course, as we have said, that the counting of EVM has just begun. Anuj continues to be with us. Anuj, where exactly is Eknath Shinde today? Because, you know, it's an important battle for him in particular. Is he at Varsha or is he in Thane?
Eknath Shinde is in Thane here, right at the beginning of the day. Of course, he's expected to move towards the city as the trends become a little clear. And not just him, we can also expect many other political leaders, especially from from the close by areas and from the far off places as well, to travel to the city, from both the factions. Because although the early trends suggest that the Mahayuti are having an edge at this particular moment, but we can expect things to get very close, as we approach the 12 noon period, and that is when one can see both the alliances will be inching towards that magical number of 145. But as been reiterated before, even if a party or even if an alliance crosses the mark of 145, that doesn't really guarantee the formation of the government by them, because it will be too ambitious of us to believe that even by the end of the day, the picture will become very clear considering what has been going on across the state in the last 4 to 5 years. We've seen that, there have been several mini contests amongst the larger picture of the Maharashtra
in terms of what the overall
and
situation that you see on the screen right now. Let's just give you the leads position right now. At this stage, the leads have the NDA considerably ahead. Remember, this will be postal ballot counting. At 103 leads for the NDA, the Mahavikas Aghadi at 64. At this stage, the Mahavikas Aghadi is actually 13 ahead in terms of a change from last time around. Of course, the political formations were different, but in terms of the composition, the NDA is down 7. But again, very early days. Let's go across to Abira, who joins us at from Dahisar. Abira, what's happening around you? What's the buzz that you're picking up, and what are some of the key contests where you're reporting from?
Let's first talk about, I think this time Maharashtra is taken over by the women because the percentage of women that turned out to vote was extraordinary compared to, of course, 2019. We have seen how Maharashtra percentage of voters have increased, and we have to give it to the women because 6% increase in the women voter. So, I think here at Dahisar, we have Manisha Chaudhary, who is the sitting MLA right now, who is the BJP candidate. She has an upper hand because she has been campaigning here, talking to the women, of course. But at the same time, we have Vinod Ghosalkar, who has a emotional quotient here because he has sympathy as his son was murdered a few months back. And he has been standing here, so he has sympathy votes here. But we have to say it is the women voters who are ruling Maharashtra. Maybe they will decide who will win this election.
Well, we're also joined by Clyde Crasto of the NCP, Rajesh Ghotian of the Congress, and Amya Kapoor of the BJP. Thank you all very much for being with us. And of course, we've got a wonderful set of panelists coming in throughout this morning. Let me go across to you, Clyde, first. Bottom line, at the end of today, or in fact in the next few hours, voters in Maharashtra, people in Maharashtra will get a sense of the real NCP, right? It is a battle of identity for your party. Clyde, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me? Did you get my question?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I got your question. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you hear me?
All right, we'll come back to Clyde in a moment. Let's just go quickly across to Rajesh Ghotian of the Congress Party. Rajesh, I know these are very early right now, but it does appear that in terms of the lead situation, the NDA considerably ahead of the MVA. Any quick thoughts that you may have?
See, when I started seeing the counting, I knew it was not possible at all. And if you see, I have been looking at the left side, that is on the screen, at a lot of Marathi channels, one of them being yours, NDTV Marathi. Now, I am having a lead count of, I don't want to just market any other channel on your channel, but I am having the latest on all the 288. It was 137, 135. So what you are showing will finally go there. And as of now, I don't want to be wrong also, it is showing 140 to Mahayuti and 132 to MVA. And this is not even the first round. So I'm very sure.
Sajjan Kumar
I was on your channel 2 days back.
Yes.
Hello, can you
Sajjan,
hear
come
me?
in on this. You know, when we are looking at
No, I
these
was
numbers,
on
it's
your channel
120
2 days
is
back.
what we are looking at for Mahayuti at the moment, and Mahavikas Aghadi at 80. Mahayuti down by
No,
12.
I'm giving you the latest.
And Mahavikas Aghadi
you are having at 210.
up by 20. Very early hours, 9-11 isn't
I
really the
got it.
time we can come to some conclusion, but how are you looking at it?
No, I mean, that's also the down and up is because last time in 2019, the combinations were different. You have just two parties in what you call today Mahayuti, combined Shiv Sena and BJP. So therefore, both the constituents were contesting more seats. So this time, even if it's going down, the lead indicates one thing. If you see the ground scenario, the fact that except Marathwada region, everywhere there was a positive traction for Ladki Bahin Yojana scheme. To Eknath Shinde's image has also taken some sort of upward pull factor. Given that, also if you see in Vidarbha region wherein Congress was supposed to contribute considerably, therein we found that Congress had literally let it go, let it slip out and fall into the hands of the local candidates wherein the Mahayuti has the edge. So overall, I think if more women voters, as the report is there, have voted in this, so therefore the Ladki Bahin Yojana impact is going to give positive traction to the Mahayuti.
Okay, Aditi?
Well, we have to see what role or what the performance of Sharad Pawar is, because this is absolutely a make and break election for him and his party. We have to. I don't know what the reports are from Baramati. I don't know what the reports are from other areas where.
I will just mention that because NCP SP at the moment, their leads are, they are contesting on 64 seats. Lead is in 33. There's a change of plus 21 for NCP SP at the moment.
So which is.
They're contesting in 86 seats, right?
86, yeah.
Yes,
86
yes.
seats.
So far we know about 64.
51 so far.
64 we know about so far, yes.
So even assuming that it is.
The F5 update button, eh?
Yes.
Even if we assume that it is around, they're leading in 1 out of every 2 seats that they contested, that's pretty damn good as strike rates go. But we have to see what, I'm really interested in knowing what happens in Baramati.
Yes.
In fact, there's a further update, Maria. You know, I mean, they're contesting in 86, the NCP SP. So far, there are leads in 71. There are leads now in 37. They're leading now in 37.
There's a gain of 24 seats.
And that's very significant.
Yes, that's pretty good. Let's bring in Clyde and get a reaction on this. You know, of course, as far as the Lok Sabha is concerned, Clyde, we saw the results, and Sharad Pawar did give what was seen as a debilitating blow to his nephew when Ajit Pawar's NCP managed only 1 MP while Sharad Pawar dominated the NCP completely. I don't think so. You know, even in this election, Sharad Pawar, the NCP battle is going to be settled so easily. You know, Mr. Pawar remains that dominant figure in Maharashtra politics.
Good morning, Maria and Vishnu. I hope you can hear me now.
Loud and clear.
Am I audible enough? Am I audible now?
Clyde, you've been audible all throughout. Can you answer the question?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So I heard you. You know, I'm getting my updates, from Baramati.
Yes.
So at the moment, Mr. Ajit Pawar is leading, but overall picture is that, the NCP, my NCP, which is Mr. Sharad Chandra Pawar, we're leading in 45 seats at the moment. That's the update I'm getting from my central office, that we're leading 45 seats. So it's going to be neck to neck, but, like Maria just said, is it going to be settled, which is the real NCP? I have no doubt. I have no doubt we are the real NCP. The election commission may have given the verdict, things have panned out, but we all know who formed NCP. We all know who is the president of the NCP. These things happen, but at the end of the day, people of Maharashtra will decide today what they decided in the Lok Sabha election. We won 8 out of the 10 seats that we contested it. So I think it's going to be a decision that the people have taken. It's going to seal it this time around. But having said that, the updates that I'm getting also, we are neck to neck. The Mahayuti and Mahavikas Aghadi are running neck to neck.
It's a
anything
battle of
can happen. Like
identity
Vishnu was saying,
for your party. At the end of the day, in the next few hours, people would likely say, okay, I now know who the real NCP is. And therefore, as tall a leader as Sharad Pawar may be, this is at one level an existential election for your party.
Well, I wouldn't call it an existential election because we know we exist. It's the other faction that broke away. They try to, exist and, call themselves the real NCP. But the truth cannot be, hidden. The fact is, we all know where the party stands. Sharad Pawar Saab formed the NCP and we're
a word on
That's
Shiv
what
Sena and all other political parties, because we have more details coming in now. The Shiv Sena, which is Eknath Shinde's Sena, the leads have come in on 59 seats out of 81 that they have contested leads now. They are leading in 33 of those 59. There is a change or gain of 2. Congress, though, is down minus 13. They are contesting on 101. Remember, in Mahavikas Aghadi, they're contesting on maximum number of seats. Out of 101 seats that the Congress is contesting, the leads clear now in 83. They are leading only in 26. And in 2019, remember, they had won 39. So I think it's not very early trend, but not very clear picture for the Congress at the moment. So as we look at 917, Mahavikas Aghadi at 85, Mahayuti at 136. So that's how the numbers are stacked. Again, let's bring in Anuja Kapoor now of the BJP. Early trends, I know BJP has always been cautiously optimistic, but how are you viewing it?
Jai Shri Ram and good morning. We are very hopeful because this is the government of NDA, and NDA is a cadre-based party where under the leadership of Modi ji, a Modi ji who has been bestowed with the highest honor around the world with 17 awards. This is what we see, where India is called as a Viksit Bharat. You will be seeing in 2045, 40 in next decade. So what we are looking into is why we would be winning this. Because what Modi ji's schemes have been turned up in Maharashtra, what Modi ji's schemes have been turned up in Jharkhand, that is on the ground level. The woman, Dalit, the caste system, what Congress was talking about, where we were talking about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, where we also talked about
because what I'd like to do, and I'll come back to you, is take a look at important strike rates which are taking place in face-offs between various political formations. So if you take a look at the BJP versus the Congress, that's the really big one. The BJP presently in leads, these are leads, not results, we'll say it 100 times, has a strike rate of 70%. The Congress in a direct face-off in Maharashtra across the state is hitting at only 23%. So this is a huge problem, Maria.
Yes, a word on those 75 seats. Out of those 75 seats, there is on which there is a direct face-off between the BJP and the Congress. 40 are in Vidarbha, which essentially means that the BJP is doing well in Vidarbha region. That's why their strike rate is at 70% in this direct face-off between the BJP and the Congress. Early hours, it's 9:20 only.
And also, the other point, of course, is that the Congress is doing, would have concerns at this stage. Of the 101, and as you mentioned, in the MBA, they're contesting the maximum number of seats in that alliance. They're leading in only 25. That's down 14 from last time. Let's take a look at the next face-off, as it were, on the screen. This is the NCP versus I think it's the NCP versus NCP. Let's try and pull out those graphics on the screen. Oops. NCP versus the NCP SP, Sharad Pawar. Again, this is the battle for identity. It's almost even Stevens, because Maria, about 30 seconds back, it was 50% each, right? So the NCP Sharad Pawar marginally under, but again, it's almost perfectly evening. The other big battle, the Shiv Sena versus the Shiv Sena, the crisis in Maharashtra politics triggered initially by the split of this party. The Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray, right? Again, in the biggest battle of identity, is not hitting at the strike rate that they want.
Yes, so in 53 seats that we are looking at, in which there is a direct face-off between the Shiv Sena and Shiv Sena UBT, it's 53 seats, and most of these 53 seats are coming from Konkan, Thane region.
And Mumbai region.
Yes. Sajjan, a word on that?
Yeah, precisely. If you see, there is a generational shift, the generation of the Shiv Sena which has not seen Bal Thackre's era. Certainly the sympathy factor doesn't translate into vote automatically. Second, Eknath Shinde, whatever be his tally, but certainly he has arrived as a leader compared to the Lok Sabha election when he was a traitor and banking upon BJP organizational base. Ladki Bahin Yojana is Eknath Shinde's initiative. So 1, 2, he is now considered as a CM who has delivered a lot in a very quick span of time. So that is why he is not only has arrived as a leader, but he is also contributing to the tally of Mahayuti. And if more women turnout is there, which is the case, then mind it, if Yuti sails through, certainly Eknath Shinde is going to be the Nitish Kumar of Maharashtra for BJP.
You know what's interesting? Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, please go ahead.
In what I find interesting is that if these trends translate into results and, you know, the gap at this stage is fairly significant, then it goes against what we've seen in the Lok Sabha elections where the MVA rested 30 of the seats, 48 seats. Right? So it's a complete spin within a matter of few months. Of course, we know that assembly elections and Lok Sabha elections very different. But coming as it does just a few months later.
Vishnu, that was palpable on the ground. What I saw on the ground was that there is no anger per se. 6 months ago, the BJP was being accused of Jod Tod Ki Rajniti. After 6 months, that had gone. So what my reading has been, that if there is anger or if there is sympathy, it manifests only once. And if after the voters are done, voting on that issue once,
it has been vented out. They have vented out.
It doesn't repeat itself. Aditi?
Well, yes.
The issues would be broadly similar, though.
The issues are similar. The issues are actually the same. Issues of farmer suicide, issues of socio-economic crisis, issues of investment flying out of Maharashtra to other states, levels of corruption. Those issues are very much in people's minds. They continue to be throughout the campaign. This is what one heard. But I think leadership also matters a great deal. And so this election proves to us how much leadership actually matters. Sharad Pawar continues, according to the result, continues to be a formidable leader in Maharashtra, despite the current situation that seems to suggest that Ajit Pawar is following closely behind him.
Okay.
The Shiv Sena UBT leadership has proved that it is not up to the task, and you can only go so far as up to a point with the theme of betrayal. And the Congress, frankly, has completely
they are underperforming in a very big way.
And I would say Vidarbha in particular, you know, because in that region, it is also proving, if these numbers actually translate into actual results, that even in hyper-local elections, we were seeing this as 288 mini battles playing out in Maharashtra. Even then, there are certain nuts and bolts of an organization which seems to be working here.
Yeah, and you see, don't be surprised if Vidarbha emerges as the graveyard, not for the Congress, but it drags down MVA also, because Vidarbha is where the Congress is supposed to contribute. Largest constituent of all the 6 regions.
Absolutely.
And Congress is supposed to contribute there, and it's almost a direct fight between BJP and Congress.
Yes.
And the way we are witnessing, it seems to be the trend, at least in Vidarbha, that if MVA gets pulled down, primarily it would be on account of the Congress.
Okay, according to leads, at 9:25, NDA has majority in both the seats. But this is early, very, very early trends. Let's tell our viewers this would be the first round of counting on EVM machines. So very, very early when we look at these numbers. But the gap seems to be increasing between the Mahavikas Aghadi and the Mahayuti. It's almost 70 seats gap, which is certainly significant. Let's bring in Mr. Singh now of the Shiv Sena. You know, the spotlight will be on Eknath Shinde. 2.5 years of governance, and then he managed to position himself as this leader who can take forward the mantle of a hard Hindutva party such as the Shiv Sena.
देखिए, जो असली शिवसेना की बात थी, तो आज तो ये प्रूव हो गया कि जो है असली शिवसेना
अभी कुछ और टाइम इंतजार करते, शायद आप और 3 घंटे बाद ये कह सकते हैं, पर फिलहाल ये अभी नतीजे जो है ये नतीजे नहीं है, ये लीड्स है सिर्फ.
नहीं, पॉजिटिव रिजल्ट तो है, पॉजिटिव रिजल्ट चल रहा है। और मेरा कहना ये है कि जो शिंदे साहब जो है, मैं इनको 25 ईयर से जानता हूं और ये बहुत जमीनी नेता है। ये जैसे जो यूबीटी के नेता है, हवा हवाई वाले नहीं है कि जो है इधर से मातोश्री में रहना, ये नहीं करना जो है। इनको मैं स्टडी किया है, सुबह 8 बजे घर से निकलते, 12-1 बजे 2 बजे रात को घर पे आते, और इन्होंने जो लाडली बहना योजना किया जो है, उसकी वजह से काफी फायदा मुझे दिख रहा है। और मैं जिस समय वोटिंग था उस समय भी वोटिंग पोल पे गया था। इलेक्शन कमीशन को मैं धन्यवाद करता हूं कि उन्होंने जो है अलग से महिलाओं के लिए पंक्ति बनाई थी और व्हील चेयर भी रखा था। तो जो शिवसेना साहब का जो काम है इस इलेक्शन में दिख रहा है, और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि महायुति की सरकार बनेगी।
What I really want to focus on, and let's just have that graphic up once again on the NCP versus NCP battle, because that to me is the most fascinating battle in the battle for leads at this stage. With the NCP, Sharad Pawar up 23 from last time around, whereas the NCP, the Ajit Pawar faction down 12 from last time around. So, you know, I mean, so that's this. So we'll update those numbers. But what I'm actually seeing, let's you know, in the face-off right now. No, what I'm actually what I'm actually seeing is the overall seat, the lead position. But in the face-off, that's fine. But let's have that up again. Where are the two against each other? And we'll be updating these graphics as well. It's a 54% to 46%. So the NCP of Ajit Pawar at this stage seems to be going up. But again, that's something that we would want those numbers revised to see whether there's been a change in that in the last few moments as well.
Yes, that's right. But this battle of NCP versus NCP in Baramati and parts of Marathwada.
Yeah, parts of Marathwada and Baramati primarily for the first time, despite all these gossip that there is some understanding between Sharad Pawar and Ajit Pawar. In Baramati, for the first time, you'll see entire Sharad Pawar family is spiritedly, they have campaigned against Ajit Pawar personally to ensure his defeat. Sharad Pawar's wife, who never stepped out in politics, hitherto.
Okay, just a moment. I just wanted to go across to Clyde because the numbers which I'm reading, Clyde, in terms of leads, actually has the NCP SP ahead of the NCP. Is that what you're getting as well? So we'll update those graphics of ours.
No, Vishnu, I'm not taking anything away from what you've got, but I have got my central office, which we are monitoring because I mean, it's not surprising that we are monitoring both these parties. So right now we are leading in 43 and the Ajit Pawar group is leading in 20 seats. That's what I'm getting from my central office. So 43 NCP SP and 20 seats to Ajit Pawar. That's what is the situation right now.
Ajit Pawar and Ajit Pawar candidates are leading in 15 constituencies at the moment in this direct face-off which is happening between the two parties. So Ajit Pawar, who did really badly and poorly in the Lok Sabha polls, is trying to regain, or is he riding on what was seen as sympathy sentiment done away with? Now it is about strengthening Mahayuti, the government of the day, because if these numbers hold and the gap between the two sides is only increasing, it's a pro-incumbency vote which is playing out across Maharashtra. And a word again on this, Aditi Fadnes. You know, Maharashtra since 1987 has not voted a single party. It has always been an alliance government in Maharashtra. This is again, as we saw in 2019, it was a pre-poll alliance that the voters may be looking at favorably. If these numbers hold, we are saying it repeatedly, this would be first round only on the EVM machines.
But if these numbers are correct for Mahayuti, then Mr. Devendra Fadnavis will be always the bridesmaid, never the bride? Because everybody
is
doing extremely well.
Yeah.
And also, you know, although the BJP has contested the largest number of seats, they will once again be relegated to supporting a smaller party from the outside, which is...
Or maybe initially they'll not rock the boat, and we'll see that now.
Maria, I'm just going to come back to a point I was mentioning earlier on, and according to the updated figures that we have also coming in and we tabulated with the ECP, again, it's the most fascinating fight for me right now is the NCP, SP and the NCP. The leads position of the Sharad Pawar group of the NCP, according to our data, is 32. The NCP is at 27. Remember, the NCP Sharad Pawar is contesting in 86, the NCP contesting in 59. The NCP Sharad Pawar, in terms of all their contests, this is not just NCP versus NCP, but in all their contests, is actually up 19. Now, if you take a look at that compared to where the Congress is, at this stage, the Congress in the leads position is down 15. So in terms of, you know, the big partner, as it were, in the equation, the Congress contesting in 101 seats, it's quite clearly underperforming in a huge way, and the NCP SP appears to be doing reasonably well. Now, is that good enough or not? You know, I mean, that we will get to that later.
But Vishnu, I just wanted to make a small point,
Yes.
which is that the Ajit Pawar faction of the NCP, I continue to call it the Ajit Pawar faction, has actually not contested on its own symbol in many seats. So granular data could result in a different picture.
You're talking about independence.
I'm talking about candidates of the BJP who are contesting on Ajit Pawar's symbol and vice versa.
Yes, Shaina NC.
Exactly.
You know, she contesting on a
Exactly.
Shiv Sena, as a Shiv Sena candidate.
Exactly. So that granular detail is also quite important when we try to assess the positions of relative positions and strengths.
All right. Well, we've got our correspondents out across the field right now, reporting from the BJP headquarters. Who do we have up at this stage? Prabhakar and Aishwarya join us. Let's go straight across to Aishwarya. Give us a sense of what's happening at the BJP headquarters.
Laddu?
You know, the last time this Laddu business happened, I think you and I were anchoring,
Yes,
and there were Laddus in the Congress office.
Congress office.
Our dear friend Sunil Prabhu was eating one of them as well, but then the election results. So I would suggest that Laddus might be bad news, but what's happening around you, Aishwarya?
Laddus or jalebis, Aishwarya? What did you get?
Well, this time it is jalebis, and unlike of the Haryana elections where we saw at the Congress headquarters jalebis being distributed, this time since morning what we are witnessing at the BJP headquarters is jalebis being prepared over here, and you know, probably at around 11 or 12 the picture will get clearer, and there had been orders of almost 100 kgs of jalebis. Of course, there are no early celebrations as of now, but preparations are still on at the BJP headquarters. Many leaders have turned up since morning as they are watching these results very closely. The BJP had clearly stated that they're very confident of the Jharkhand polls, but on the other side, Maharashtra is something they would like to wait and watch as to what transpires in the next few hours. But certainly preparations are on, as every elections we see, if Bharatiya Janata Party wins, then it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi who comes to the headquarters and address their कार्यकर्ता, and therefore the reason perhaps all the you know, preparations are on, and the orders have been given to the कार्यकर्ताs to still wait and watch as to what results transpired. But jalebis is something that is being prepared currently at the BJP headquarters.
Jalebi factory may have been a talking point in Haryana, but jalebis are back as the favorite.
Shall we take a look at Jharkhand? Shall we take a look at Jharkhand? Because we've got our colleague Prabhakar as well in Ranchi waiting for us. The overall position right now, the NDA and the India Alliance both contesting in 81. The leads position has the NDA up at 43. That's up 17 from last time. The India Alliance, and this is terrible news for the JMM obviously, is that they're down 13 from last time. So again, very early, the total number of seats is 81. Any early reactions, Prabhakar? Is there a sense of disbelief? Or I mean, at this stage, actually, the JMM is up 4 from last time. So perhaps it is early days. But what are you getting in terms of some reactions on these leads?
I think the leaders from both the factions, they will first wait for the numbers to settle down, and then they would react to the results which are coming in. But as of now, of course, the trends are showing that the NDA is in a leading position, and that would be a big setback for JMM, because they were quite upbeat about it. They were quite positive that they would actually be able to come back in power. And it was basically they were riding on the hope of this Madhya Samman Yojana, which is their flagship program actually to attract women voters. And what we saw on the ground during the polling, that women were there in large number on ground voting, and JMM actually believed that it was because of their scheme, the Madhya Samman Yojana, that women have come out largely to vote for them. But if the numbers actually don't go their way, it will certainly be a big, big disappointment. Laddus have been ordered here in Ranchi as well by both the camps, laddus and crackers. We don't know which camp will actually burst crackers or distribute laddus, but certainly we will have one, whichever camp wins.
Good one, Prabhakar there. Let's bring in Tom Vadakkan. Tom Vadakkan, it seems Jharkhand, Maharashtra, both the states could have good news for you, but very early hours, 9:36 only. Mr. Vadakkan, if you heard me, sir.
I will take this opportunity to, to thank our voters and the Election Commission for having conducted an election which is above board. Above board. Whoever wins or loses, this is democracy at full play.
But Tom, you're being terribly philosophical early in the morning.
If you have delivered,
got some very positive
you will win.
leads positions to you in Jharkhand and in Maharashtra. Where is the excitement, or are you in a sense of disbelief that you're doing as well as you are in the leads position in both states?
No, that's not the case. We know we have delivered. We know we have delivered.
No, that's more
and
like
our guarantees and promises people have seen it. So we are not, we are somebody who's surprised with anything. If you work hard and you deliver, your Kalikartas are there and the results are there, then there's nothing to stop you. And if democracy is anything that we can talk about, that is what you deliver to the people, how well you take care of the people, and the promises that you keep and you maintain it.
In these numbers
that is the essential test,
Tom,
litmus test.
That we heard two very women-centric schemes in both the states. In one state, you had about Ladki Behan. In the other, it was about Madhya Samman. In both these states, women voters came out to cast their vote. But if these numbers actually translate into actual results, in one state they voted for the party which gave them that model of governance. The other one, they have voted against it.
Quite right, absolutely, and we suggest that there are many other factors at work in both states. Well, they are very different states, so you can't really equate one with the other. But even though women have come out to vote in large numbers, the factors that have impelled them to vote in certain ways may be different.
And also the tribal voter, we'll have to talk about them. That will become a crucial vote bank now. All that outreach with regards to, Birsa Munda Jayanti and visually impactful images.
It's not just that. It's also what BJP told us is in the Kolhan region, where the BJP, which sends 14 seats to the assembly, in the last election, the BJP got 0. Kolhan is where Champai Soren comes from.
Right.
That's right.
So it's possible that the base of the tribal JMM-led tribal consolidation, the base of that grouping is completely broken.
Sajjan, that's an interesting point. Hemant Soren in these elections, the fact that he came out of jail as a sort of hero, the fact that the JMM were looking at the entire narrative of how their premier leader has been targeted by agencies. If these leads translate into results, then that entire narrative completely collapses. And I would suggest, perhaps even more than the women voters, it is the narrative of the JMM and Hemant Soren not working out that would go against them and decide the sympathy factor, which would win or lose the election for them.
Yeah, therein comes relatively the core zones wherein the impact of the leader is there. So besides Santhal Pargana and among the Santhals, it has never been the case that JMM has consolidated all the tribes, let alone about the rest of the Jharkhand electorates. Last time what happened that BJP's Chief Minister Raghuvar Das, an OBC, he ended up alienating both the tribals and the upper caste middle class voter, like Saryu Rai and others, you know. This time, wherein the BJP, by aligning with AJSU and others, consolidated OBC votes, upper caste vote also has come, and with Babulal Marandi and others, they have been Urao, Mundas, Ho, Khadiya, lots many tribals. So that way sympathy factor needs to be given some external organizational push to be beyond the quarantined area of Santhal Pargana.
Right.
And when Congress is your ally, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Okay, so Santhal is how many seats there? Santhal Pargana would be how many seats?
In and around, if I'm correct, around 30 or something.
30. That's the dominant. It's similar to Vidarbha. I mean, the region which can make or break.
But you have to remember that tribals are only 27% of
27%,
Jharkhand's
yeah.
population. Now, the other castes,
OBCs.
particularly the Kurmis, and specifically among the Kurmis, the role of Jairam Mahato, who has emerged as a very major a potential chief minister candidate among the Kurmis. That is also very, very important.
The Congress down last time in Jharkhand from last time. They're contesting a significant 30 seats. They were always being carried along by the JMM, but with this, you know, it's just not worked out.
Okay, so a word on Jharkhand now, and if we can do a party-wise breakup, the BJP is contesting on 68. We have leads in 65 so far. The BJP, of these 65 seats, the BJP is leading in 35. They have made a gain of 11. JMM contesting on 43 seats. We have a picture clear of 41. There is a change of -3. The Congress is down -9. It seems to be certainly bringing down this entire alliance. AJSU, the alliance partner of the BJP there, it is contesting on 10 seats. They are leading in 6. They are making gains of 4. So a word on AJSU.
Yeah, AJSU contributes to especially the Kurmi Mehtos.
The Kurmi Mehto, yes.
Hazaribagh and bordering the Purulia, all the regions wherein you have Kurmi Mehtos, and who last time also got alienated. So this time, that is why the women-centric scheme is one factor that should have contributed to the JMM Congress alliance. But when you do not do your homework right about the social base, for example, in Maharashtra, you see, except Marathwada region, wherein the Jarange Patil factor seems to be contributing to, going against the BJP. Everywhere BJP again, consolidated among the OBC base, Madhav Alliance, Mali, Dhangar, Vanjaris, Teli, etc. And that's why you see many of the OBCs are saying that we voted against the BJP because hum dar gaye the because of the constitution narrative. But now that the OBC leaders like Chhagan Bhujbal and others, they openly came out against Jarange Patil, and that is why you contribute to the social boost, and then Ladli Bahin Yojana adds up.
And in that narrative of Jarange Patil in Marathwada, here is Jarange Patil not questioning the Shiv Sena. He's questioning his target is essentially Devendra Fadnavis and the BJP.
That's the caste. No, that not Maratha leaders of BJP.
Yes.
Primarily the Devendra Fadnavis because he's a Brahmin.
Yeah, so I'm saying even then Jarange Patil was selective in his target questioning. So that essentially confused the voters even more. When I met him at his home in Marathwada, he gave me an impression that yes, I'm going to start agitation again, and all his questions was only against Devendra Fadnavis.
Right.
So the BJP chose that in Marathwada, Devendra Fadnavis will not be in the front line of the campaign. He'll be much behind.
I just want to switch very briefly to Jharkhand once again and pick up on the point that Aditi was talking about. I think Jairam Mahato and the entire insider-outsider debate is one of the most fascinating aspects of this election. The fact that he's campaigned on a domicile policy going back to 1932, saying that that is the cutoff when you'd be decide. How significant a player is he in the context of these elections and this particular insider-outsider debate, which has also been core to what the BJP has been arguing?
Look, this domicile thing is already a done and dusted thing. Babulal Marandi way back, 2 decades back.
It comes up, yes.
Now in Jharkhand, more than that, I think his crucial impact would be among the Mehto, Kurmi Mehto community who are sizable in Jharkhand. Because I think this outsider-insider debate has been dusted. It doesn't have the resonance, but because the very demand of being included into the ST category. You know, 1908 when the Kurmi Kshatriya Mahasabha happened, and they were invited. The tribal told them that you are not the Kurmis of UP and that time the plains of Bihar, do not go, but they went there because of the Sanskritization logic.
No, but what is interesting now is that even there, a party like BJP, which had, not really directly projected Babulal Marandi as their face, they are getting acceptance from tribal state. It's a tribal, 28% may not be the completely dominated state, but will be seen as a tribal state.
In terms of the territory,
in terms of territory.
Inhabit.
I think much more important is
The Kurmi factor.
No. BJP got 0 seats in the tribal reserved area.
The Lok Sabha
reserved
right.
seats.
In fact, the BJP slogan, "Tom Vadakan batenge to katenge," that is also, something that evidently may be working. It was debatable, it was controversial in a sense. The Congress really took you on that, but you stuck to that, and I mean, at the cost of some suggesting that it was divisive. But would you suggest that that's also perhaps one of the key factors which has worked well, certainly in the case of Jharkhand so far?
As to the question of the slogan,
yes,
I think it is a logical thing that we Indians have to unite against forces that are outside. And if that has been a slogan that has been there in our manifesto in different forms and sizes. Now, I think one thing that is being avoided on your channel, that demographic change in the tribal area is an effect that the tribals have realized that they are being replaced. And especially when the announcement came in from a Congress leader that facilities would be provided to these outsiders. When I mean outsiders, I mean those who have come into the state and have settled there. This is the realization that has hit bang into the tribal psyche, and they have realized that they may be replaced by this new demographic change.
Okay. So we are going
and
back
I think
to
that
the
needs
state
to
of
go
Maharashtra,
on record today.
and we'll start focusing it on the basis of various regions. Maharashtra, as we have been saying, there are 6 decisive regions. Every region has its own set of issues, has voted on its own set of issues. There is no pan-Maharashtra issue which played out. So we are starting to look now at Konkan region. In Konkan, a word on that, in all 39 seats in 2019, the BJP Shiv Sena had won 26. The Congress NCP had won 7. Now, how are the numbers stacked, Vishnu?
Well, if you take a look at the Konkan region in Maharashtra, the NDA up over here, up 4. The MVA leading in just 1 seat. Others are not particularly significant in this concept. It's a runaway success in the Konkan region. Sajan, how would you look at Konkan and the dynamics in Konkan, which are different from other parts of the state?
So Konkan, you have 3 districts, Sindhudurg, Ratnagiri and Raigad.
Yeah.
But when you add 39 seats, it's also have the Thane and Palghar.
Right.
That's combined.
Okay.
In Lok Sabha election, when the generic trend was against BJP, both the seats of Konkan was won by BJP. Narayan Rane is one who is not considered a Maratha leader because he is from Konkan, and because of its continuity to Mumbai, there was more kind of a Shiv Sena base. So that is why Uddhav Thackeray was supposed to contribute here. It was his passion. He should have been the legacy holder. But we saw that during Lok Sabha election also, Konkan went Mahayuti ways. This is one. 2, you see, in this region, there is always the kind of a factor, you see, Hindutva is more strong, but therein also the factor that Uddhav went with Mahayuti. And
okay, so now, a word on that. Mahayuti has reached 202.
Right.
Never before in Maharashtra history an alliance is standing at that number. Aditi, I mean, it's going to be a landslide if that actually
Meanwhile, Aditya Thackeray is leading in Worli. That's interesting.
Yes.
That's
so,
important.
Yes, while we look at it.
The Thackeray faction.
Yes, but 202, where are the numbers coming from? Let's put out more numbers now there. 202 For, okay, now 203, it's only increasing for Mahayuti. So let's bring in region-wise again, Jui, starting with Vidarbha now. Let's move to Vidarbha because that's an important battle there. In all 62 seats, how are the numbers stacked? Okay, massive gain for Mahayuti there. They are leading in 51 seats again.
No, and this is very significant because this is an area which is known for agrarian concerns, and agrarian distress has played out very much in parts of Amravati, Chandrapur, Nagpur as well. Farmer suicides was something which was very, very big over here.
Yavatmal is here. Yavatmal is in Vidarbha.
In Vidarbha as well. If the NDA is doing well in these issues, then the sense that the MVA really held the narrative when it came to addressing farmer issues hasn't held true at all.
No, certainly not. And therein comes that, yes, there were complaints about the low productive of soybean and cotton.
Yes.
Prices were not much. But yet people said that when you, we do not treat ourselves as farmers in isolation, women in isolation. They treat how the household income has been affected. This massive cash schemes that was there between Raksha Bandhan and Deepavali. On an average, there was a feeling that 20 to 30,000, has come in most of the household, and that is why not only it neutralized, it gave a positive spin.
Can I just revisit?
Most of these
and Maria, you answer this question for me.
In most of these seats,
what people want to know. When do we move away from saying that these are early leads to saying that we are now in a particular direction? It's now 10 o'clock almost in the morning.
I think post 10:30 we will be, because it's not really, it's not.
It's consistent.
Because at this stage, for the MVA to turn this around would mean a massive change in the lead's position.
I think that's...
Which is why I'm asking.
It's going
Sorry,
to
go ahead.
So I think we'll have to wait a little more. We have always been cautious. That's how NDTV, you are the veteran of NDTV, has been functioning. So let's hold our horses. It's not even 10 a.m., ladies and gentlemen, 8 minutes to go. By then, we'll have a clear picture of Maharashtra, 288 seats. The leads would have come in, early leads, very early leads. But yes, it looks like the Mahayuti at the moment could very well be home. But yes, let's look at Vidarbha. We have discussed Vidarbha. Moving focus now to Marathwada. Let's focus on Marathwada region now. In all 46 seats here in Marathwada, BJP, Shiv Sena, that time around it was the united Shiv Sena, perhaps undivided Shiv Sena at 28. Congress NCP was at 16. How are the numbers tagged now? So again here the NDA, that is the Mahayuti, has taken a lead. They are leading in 36 seats, Mahavikas Aghadi at 9. So that Jarange Patil and the supposed meeting which happened between him and Mr. Sharad Pawar, what really happened to that?
Well, ultimately caste is very, very crucial to a lot of decisions that people take.
I just want to go through some of the key issues in Marathwada.
Yes, please.
Which composes of Aurangabad, Jalna, Beed, Marathwada, drought, underdevelopment key issues, issues of caste politics, water scarcity and agricultural issues. So some similarity with concerns raised in Vidarbha. Again, this narrative appears to be a runaway, in tackling this, seems to be a runaway success in terms of leads for the NDA at this stage.
And interestingly, in Jalna, when Jarange Patil okay, so it's 212 now for the Mahayuti there, and the MVA numbers, MVA numbers are only declining. So there is no hung house, there is no chaos among the mind of the voters. One word on the ground was stability. A government that completes 5 years in office, that's what people of Maharashtra have voted for. They did not want any jod-tod. They did not want...
They've had enough of that.
They have had enough of that. So, even if Jarange Patil was angry towards, Devendra Fadnavis, a Maratha chief minister in Eknath Shinde managed to neutralize his anger in a great extent. In fact, what had happened was that soon after, when the protest started, the chief minister had travelled all the way to Jalna to meet Jarange Patil, to send him that message that he is sincere about reservation. He got that 10% passed by the assembly.
Yes,
that made an important impact, that he was seen as sincere. to the cause of the Marathas.
Yeah, and also in the last moment, because this seems to be counterintuitive in Marathwada, because Marathas constitute around 30% of the population there. Then you have 18% Muslims. Then you also have the Mahar Buddhist voters who are not much under the impact of Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi. So this triple M, Marathas, Muslims and Mahar Dalits, was supposed to be demographically help the Mahavikas Aghadi, which is not happening, which means that in the last moment also there were conversations that Sharad Pawar had been chief minister multiple times. What did he do? Now he is supporting all those demands, and then Jarange Patil being the B team of Sharad Pawar, that narrative also came. But besides that, I think also it was a counter consolidation of the OBCs, because Pankaja Munde is there and lots many other OBC leaders are there. And apart from that, I think women factor perhaps seems to be the X factor in Maharashtra, because the kind of victory you see simply by caste and community demographic, it doesn't make sense. If there is
one of the best signs for Indian politics. We've seen the rise in women voters in the last couple of assembly elections. They were dominant, for example, in the Madhya Pradesh elections,
Thackeray,
Jharkhand, and this time as well.
Son of Raj Thackeray is trailing in Mahim.
Right.
We haven't discussed Raj Thackeray.
No, we haven't. It was not expected to be a very significant factor.
Absolutely. MNS, what happens to Raj Thackeray after this if his son is also trailing?
His cousin is winning.
Yes, so does it mean end of road? We don't write off anyone, but Amit Thackeray, this was his electoral debut, son of Raj Thackeray, MNS Supremo. He is trailing from Mahim. But let's bring in Ratndeep.
Aditya was taking on Milind Deora, right?
Yeah. I'm being told to take Ratndeep now.
All right,
you have to go to Ratndeep.
Oh, there we are. See, so Aditya is leading against Milind Deora of the Shinde Sena. Right.
This is the second time Aditya was contesting from Worli.
So Sena versus Sena over here, and Aditya Thackeray, this is one of the few areas where they seem to be doing reasonably well. I'd be interested to see where some of the other battles, the key battles, the Pawar versus Pawar battles, which are taking place in Baramati. We'll come around to that in a moment. But let's also focus a little bit on by-elections.
Yes, a word from Ratndeep, who's joining us from Guwahati.
And Ratndeep, sorry to have kept you waiting right up off the top. But I can see that the air quality around you is much better than it is in Delhi. So, I mean, you were breathing clean air. But please go ahead.
That's right, we are breathing clean air, and perhaps in the bypolls in Assam, where there are 5 seats which went for bypoll, there is initial good news for the ruling BJP and allies, as out of the 5 seats, the leads that we are getting after round 1, in 3 seats, BJP and allies are leading, and that includes the crucial Samaguri seat, which has been a Congress stronghold since 2001. Since 2001, Congress had never lost Samaguri, but after round 1, BJP candidate has taken an early lead of 2,000 votes. So therefore, remember, this time BJP has campaigned hard there in the stronghold of Congress heavyweight Rakibul Hussain, and his son, 26-year-old Tanzil Hussain, is making his electoral debut there. And there, it seems the BJP has been able to make some early inroads in the seat of Bihali, where a BJP turncoat was contesting on Congress ticket, where Congress heavyweight Gaurav Gogoi had led the campaign. There, Congress is trailing, and also from Meghalaya, from the Gambagre seat, which is a prestige battle for Congress Sangma's family, with his wife making an electoral debut for his party, the National People's Party. She is actually leading there in Gambagre. There is a multi-corner fight there. So these are the updates coming in. So therefore, good news, early good news for the BJP and allies, not only in Assam, but also from Meghalaya. But all eyes would be on the Samaguri seat, which has seen major pre-poll violence, even skirmishes on the day of the polling as well. And remember, this time, this was the first election of at any level in Assam since 2016, when BJP came to power in Assam for the first time, that Himanta Biswa Sharma, the chief minister, was not leading the campaign. He did campaign for the party candidates because he was busy with the Jharkhand elections. And also Sarvanand Sonowal, the union minister, former chief minister, also was not seen very active in the campaign. So BJP had this time tested the electoral management of its second-ranked leaders in Assam. So therefore, this has been a major test for the BJP itself, and also for Gaurav Gogoi, who was emerging as Congress's face in Assam. At this moment, the initial leads are with the BJP, and that too in Congress stronghold of Samaguri.
Sikkim, both seats have been won uncontested. Some news flashed.
Yes.
Ratnadeep, Could
That's
you tell
right.
us about
In
the
fact, in
Sikkim
Sikkim,
contest?
both seats have been
I
won
confess to not
uncontested.
knowing enough about it.
Yes, that's correct. In fact, in Sikkim, there were 2 seats where bypolls had to take place. In fact, 1 seat was vacated by the chief minister, because in the Sikkim election he contested from 2 seats and won both the seats. So he left 1 seat, and his wife had vacated another seat. And in both the seats, on the last day of withdrawal of nomination, the main key opposition party, Sikkim Democratic Front candidates, had withdrawn their nomination, and the other parties' candidates' nomination was disqualified. So therefore, the ruling Sikkim Krantikari Morcha candidates in both the seats have won unopposed, which includes Aditya Gole, the son of Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang.
Okay.
And with those victories, remember, now in Sikkim Assembly, which is a 32-member assembly, there is no opposition. All the MLAs belong to Sikkim Krantikari Morcha of Prem Singh Tamang, which is a key ally of the
we will
BJP.
talk about Sikkim a little bit later. Let the assembly elections happen over there. These were just bypolls. Let's go straight across to my colleague Radhika. As we do that, just an overall look at what appears to be a runaway win for the NDA.
But a word there, Vishnu.
Still leads. That's my next sentence. But just look at the gap right now. Remember, the magic mark is 145. They are well ahead of that. For the NVA at this stage, to reverse this, the leads position would be fairly extraordinary. There are different rounds, obviously, of counting and rechecks, even of the electronic voting machines. But at this stage, it appears that the NDA in the leads position completely ahead. Let's go straight across to Radhika, who's been tracking all of these developments and joins us now. Radhika, is there a sense of despondency building up among members of the MVA at this stage? Any reactions from the Mahayuti for that matter?
No reactions from MVA as yet, but when we did speak to leaders of Mahayuti, they are obviously putting up a confident front, which they did yesterday. But as of now, no reactions from the Congress or Shiv Sena UBT faction at this point. They're, of course, waiting and watching. They say that these are early trends. Let's just wait for a couple of hours more before we can call the elections. But I am at BJP headquarters in Mumbai, and these are the scenes here. Of course, several leaders are inside. None of the top leaders have come here yet, but Mangal Prabhat Lodha is inside, along with several other leaders, as well as district presidents also of a few areas. They're also inside having a small meeting. But this is the how the BJP office is looking. In fact, they've put up a huge screen as well, where the numbers are put up for media to sort of take a look. So this is, as far as Mahayuti numbers are concerned, yes, Mahayuti is in lead. And when we did speak to leaders, of course, they attributed to all of the infrastructure projects, and also very particularly on the Ladki Behan scheme. We know for a fact that the number of women voters increased considerably this time, and that has been attributed to the success of Ladki Behan scheme, at least by the members of Mahayuti. One is that, and the slew of infrastructure projects that came into effect in the last, couple of months at least, especially in parts of Mumbai. When we did speak to voters of different kinds in Maharashtra, particularly in Konkan region, Mumbai, Thane, they were talking about the development initiatives, projects that have come in the last couple of years and that are in the pipeline as well. That is something that really did lure voters. And some of the projects did happen, or rather got launched or inaugurated just a few months ahead of elections, particularly the Coastal Road project or the metro. So all that has clearly worked in favor of Mahayuti, certainly, and the schemes for women, as I said, Ladki Behan, schemes for youth, schemes for farmers, that have 100% worked for Mahayuti, is what the leaders are saying. Again, early trends.
Sure.
We cannot, call elections.
Okay, Radhika, hold on a second. I want to go across to Sam Daniel for a moment. We're talking about assembly elections in 2 states, but this is, in a sense, an all-India sort of feel because of the important by-elections. One of the crucial ones is Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, Wayanad in Kerala, looking to make her debut within Parliament. My colleague Sam Daniel joins us for more on this. So, potentially, one Gandhi replacing another. The stakes for the Gandhis are huge. They just have to win this one way or the other. It's a prestige battle like no other, at least in the context of these by-elections. Give us a sense of the challenges that Priyanka Gandhi Vadra faces over there, if any.
Vishnu, certainly in terms of her performance, she's having a comfortable lead, winning more than 70,000 votes. And at the moment, as we speak, both the LDF and the BJP are at a distant second and third position. And for Priyanka, it's a kind of a springboard to replace Rahul Gandhi, who has shifted to Raebareli. And the challenge for her would be to disprove the outsider tag that the opposition has been campaigning during this run-up to the bypoll here, saying that she would not have time to spend in Wayanad. She would spend more time in Delhi, but that's the challenge she has to encounter and disprove it. But for her politically, it's a springboard to emerge as a strong leader for the Congress, one replacing Rahul Gandhi down south, and also to be a stronger voice in the parliament. She's known to be a powerful orator, both in English and Hindi, to be able to take on the BJP, as the Congress calls it. Many in the Congress also look in her a semblance of Indira Gandhi. And while Rahul Gandhi has emerged to be kind of a people's person, traveling across the country to move with the people and to emerge as a people's leader, the Congress feels it's also time to have a strong leader like Priyanka Gandhi, who will have enough time to work on the organizational challenges of the Congress. And they feel with this kind of a mandate, they hope that she'll be able to win with a larger margin than what Rahul Gandhi had won. With that, she'll be able to focus more on the organizational challenges to help the party get stronger to take on the BJP.
Okay, so the story in Wayanad is going to be about the margin of victory of Priyanka Gandhi. Vadra shifting focus to Jharkhand quickly before we return to Maharashtra, because the first round in over 161 seats is still going on. So let's be cautious while we look at these numbers and say, because in an assembly seat, depending on the size of that assembly,
Maria is
on an average,
hope that this turns out to be an extremely close election. From what we are seeing right now, it's a runaway success for the NDA.
But that's what we do as journalists, cautiously waiting and seeing how numbers are turning up. But yes, so in all, there are 13 to 14 rounds. So we'll have to wait and see. There's only one round which is currently still on of EVM counting. Yes, Prabhakar, go ahead. How many rounds over in most seats in Jharkhand?
Yeah, we have just completed one round out here, and the numbers you are seeing on your screen, it's a very early trend, so we should not actually read much with these numbers. But yeah, the early trend shows that NDA is having a clear lead, and they are leading on 45 odd seats, which is a good number. And the JMM camp was till yesterday very upbeat that, and even today when we had a word with them in the morning, they were quite confident that they will be able to sail through, and it's their schemes on the ground which will actually yield results for them. Especially they are banking upon the vote of women here in Jharkhand because of the scheme which they have launched for them, the Maiya Saman Yojana, and they believe that this scheme, because of this scheme, the women, they were there in large number at the polling station. So we'll have to wait for the numbers to settle down, maybe a few more rounds, and then we'll actually have the figure actually which way the wind is blowing here in Jharkhand.
Shastri, how long does it typically take for a round to be counted? Because there are 13 rounds, as Maria pointed out. It's an electronic process. So it's almost instantaneous, right? It's a process of rechecking.
Yes. My own sense is that by around 11. we should get the final trend, because I think Maria's word of caution to us flows from two things. What happened in Chhattisgarh and what happened in Haryana. You see, in both these states, we saw initial trends of one party leading. In Chhattisgarh's case, in both the cases, the Congress, and then you ultimately had a different result. So I think it's only from that perspective that this insurance policy is being taken, that things could change. Things could remain the same also, of course. As Vishnu was saying, maybe these trends get further expanded. But I think it would be useful, especially in the case of Jharkhand, given the proximity of the contest, that we wait for some more time for any definitive point to be made.
Okay. But initial trend, 10 a.m. right now, Aarti Jairath?
You know, for me, the most shocking thing about these trends is how badly Sharad Pawar's party is doing, and how Ajit Pawar seems to be claiming the legacy of NCP in Maharashtra. All reports, and even the Lok Sabha results had suggested that Ajit Pawar was, kind of finished, and after the Lok Sabha defeat, his party kind of broke up, there was an exodus to the NCP, and yet we find that Sharad Pawar seems to be doing badly and Ajit Pawar seems to be ahead. And to me, this is really, I'm not surprised about the BJP versus Congress, because we saw in Haryana that when the Congress faces the BJP, it just completely collapses. The BJP does well.
But interestingly, Aarti, right now we are looking
Maria,
at
if I
those
could
numbers.
just make a small point.
Yes, sir.
The Congress seems to be the factor pulling the alliance down, both in the case of Maharashtra and in the case of Jharkhand.
Okay, can both of you hold on for half a second? We need to go across to our colleague Radhika, who's been, where there's a lot of action happening around her. In simple terms, Radhika, what's happening where you are? Are there celebrations in the Mahayuti camp, or what exactly are you seeing right now? All right, she's walking into an office is what I'm told.
Okay, so let's wait for that.
In fact, just a
And she's
while
walked
ago,
in. Go ahead.
we did see, packs of laddu being brought inside the headquarters here. I will just try and show you that, because they just went inside with those packs of laddus. But yeah, those are the packages that are kept inside the BJP headquarters here. So clearly indicating that they are confident of a win. Of course, Mahayuti is in lead. The numbers are looking great for Mahayuti, especially for BJP, which is why BJP headquarters at this point is buzzing. Those are packs of laddus that are kept inside to be distributed perhaps in an hour or two. They are being cautious, clearly. It's not getting distributed at this point, but perhaps in an hour or two, we could see that happening. But yes, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, we know that landscape changed, and therefore there was a lot of confusion and chaos when it came to results. There was uncertainty. It was not really easy to predict, which is why pollsters gave different predictions. Of course, most of the pollsters did say Mahayuti would win, but there were pollsters who also gave prediction of hung assembly, and some also giving advantage to MVA as well, which is why it was hard to predict. Also because of the number of parties in fray this time. In 2019, just 4 parties. It was BJP, undivided Sena, and of course Congress and undivided NCP. It was a straightforward election at the time until Uddhav Thackeray decided to break away, and then things changed from then on, and then of course all the splits, which is why this is the first assembly elections, of course, post these splits, and therefore things have changed drastically, which is why all kinds of permutations.
Just hold on for half a second. I think Aarti wanted to make a really important point.
Yes, and we'll come back to you.
We'll come back to you. Stay put. Stay put, don't go anywhere. What you were mentioning is the battle for the heart and soul of the NCP, which Sharad Pawar, in what possibly his last election,
absolutely,
he's 84. He's turning 84 next.
He's 84. This is his last election. He has been the doyen of Maharashtra politics for the last 4 decades, dominated either in front as chief minister or as a power behind the throne. And now we see a near wipeout of, so far at least, unless things change, we're looking at a wipeout of the Sharad Pawar NCP.
Let's have
clearly the
NCP
legacy
versus
is going
NCP
to
graphic.
Ajit Pawar.
We're going to have the face-off, as it were, or the NCP versus NCP.
Okay, so we have now
graphic
the
on
trend
stage.
in all 288 seats in Maharashtra. It's 10-15. Mahayuti leading in 217. This is, of course, the first round which is going on. Mahavikas Aghadi at 58. They're only slipping. NDA seems to be going ahead. If this holds, then it's a wave election in favor of Mahayuti.
Landslide, if this happens. But this is
a wave election.
Aarti was talking. Professor Shastri, you want to take this question? The NCP versus NCP, the strike rate of the NCP, Ajit Pawar at 66 versus 24%. Of course, these are the face-offs, direct face-offs between the two, but the number of seats that they've contested overall are different. The NCP contesting in 59, and the Sharad Pawar cap, I'll give you the numbers.
86.
Yeah. 86.
No, if you look at this face-off and the trends as it stands today, very clearly we have a reversal of what happened in the Lok Sabha elections.
Absolutely.
And Sharad Pawar's NCP seems to be taking a backseat.
Okay.
Even other indications are that the lead is something like 35 for the Ajit Pawar NCP and 9 for the Sharad Pawar NCP. So clearly, what we had seen in the Lok Sabha election with regard to NCP is being reversed in the assembly election.
Okay.
And
So-
this is definitely a setback for Sharad Pawar.
No, I think in all the Mahavikas Aghadi, people may have voted for revenge sympathy in the Lok Sabha, but they realize that perhaps that can happen only once.
But one point which is emerging, the weak link
The weak
in
link.
both the
Congress
alliances seems to be the Congress
Yeah,
party.
absolutely.
The JMM is doing reasonably well in Jharkhand,
Yes.
but the alliance is being pulled down
Pulled down by
simply
the
because the JMM contested only 41 of the 81 seats,
Yes,
and
and the
30
remaining
seats
was-
were with the Congress party.
No, and of those 30 seats that the Congress contested in Jharkhand, the bulk of them were against the BJP. So once again, you know, what is being proved is what happened in Haryana, that when the Congress faces the BJP, it's
In a one-on-one
just,
fight.
on a one-on-one
Okay, let's
fight,
just go
it's
across to
unable to hold its
our
ground.
political guest. Raju Wagmare of the Shiv Sena Shinde joins us. We've got
Dolly Sharma from the
Dolly
Congress.
Sharma of the Congress party as well.
Arvind Tiwari from NCP SP.
Arvind Tiwari of the NCP SP.
And Rohan Gupta. And Rohan Gupta from the BJP.
Dolly Sharma, let me come across to you first. And sorry to keep you waiting, but you know, I mean, these are of course early leads. But you know, it's 10:16. The sense is that within the next 45 minutes or so, unless there's a very dramatic reversal, it seems that in Maharashtra and in Jharkhand, the Congress or your alliance in deep trouble. How do you see what's happening now?
See, this is too early to comment. Like you must have seen in last elections also, early trends saying something else and the results were different. So we are very positive. And also, like, you know, in the election, the muscle power that was used and the conflicts and divisions were instigated between the Marathas and OBC communities. The ruling party employed criminals and misused government machinery to further, you know, its agenda. Voter lists were manipulated. BJP extensively used power and money all over. And this was why, you know, in open you could see how money is being distributed. It's not a matter
Response
to
from the
laugh
BJP,
upon.
Rohan Gupta.
Everybody has seen the way they've
Rohan, would you
misused
like
the
to
power.
respond to that? Money power is the allegation made by the Congress.
So Vishnu, I am very happy that even after so many defeats, opposition hasn't learned the lessons. See, after Lok Sabha, there was an indication that their narrative on the name of reservation or constitution was getting little traction. But what happened in Haryana, what is happening today, it is a clear-cut message that the opposition parties are totally against the ground narrative. They don't know what the people of country want. They don't know what the state of Maharashtra wants because they are completely in their own, like Alice in Wonderland. They don't know what is the ground situation. Two things. One important thing which I would like to tell you. On the last day of the election, if the opposition leader has to react to the narrative set by the BJP, it clearly shows that they don't have faith on their own narrative. All their reveries or guarantees, people won't believe that because one day before the election, you get the message that Himachal, which is ruled by Congress, Himachal Bhavan is on sale. So people won't trust the people who give the guarantee and cannot fulfill, number one. Number two, on the other side, Ladli Behna Yojana or other schemes of NDA government, they were successful on ground. People were getting benefit of that. So as far as local narrative was there in Maharashtra, absolutely opposition party completely failed. On the other side, on national narrative also, their leader was completely taken aback. Because that appeasement thing and division of Hindu votes, this successful strategy of Lok Sabha, it proved boomerang to them in state elections because they could not understand how the ground is changing. They could not understand how people are responding to it.
Rohan, hold on. Let's go across to Arvind Tiwari of the NCP, Sharad Pawar. Mr. Tiwari, thanks very much for being with us. It's not looking very good for you at this stage, is it? You know, I mean,
No,
this is, yeah, go ahead.
No, it is not the situation as of now. It's the early trends, and you will see the situation drastically changing in an hour or two. As soon as the count increases, as soon as the rounds increases, you will see that the situation in Maharashtra has drastically changed. And I believe very strongly that whatever is the trend at this moment, it is going to be exactly opposite. And what my friend was now saying at this point of time, the narratives that they had set in Lok Sabha, there was a different narrative because at that point of time, that was the issue before the country, because that was what was being told by the BJP, their own leaders, that the constitution is sought to be replaced. The reservation was at stake. That was the situation at that point of time. In Maharashtra, at this point of time, the problems were the women's security. That was the major problem you had seen, wherein the women security had become a biggest question. You saw the issue of Badlapur, where the government was very much busy in publicizing its
But
Ladli Behna
Arvind,
scheme
the
for
elections
6
are
days.
over.
For 6
Now,
days.
I take
For
all the
6 days
points
they
that
were
you're
not even
mentioning, but maybe
explained.
this could have been stated a couple of days back. I mean, just
Correct,
looking at
but
this leads
see,
position, unless there is a very dramatic reversal, because look, let's face it, it's 10:20. Professor Shastri with us said by 11 o'clock we should get an idea of the general leads that are happening. He doesn't get things wrong mostly. That being the case, you've got just about 30 minutes or so to 40 minutes or so to turn things around. Now, given that it's a landslide, it's headed towards a landslide if these leads translate into results, you might just be staring at an existential crisis for your party and a complete loss for your alliance. Is that your worry at this stage, or are you still hoping against hope?
No, right. It's not the question of against hope. We are not only hopeful, we are confident that we will be in a very much better position.
Fair enough. You have to put up a strong front there.
Fair
Mr.
enough,
Thackeray, please come in on this. How are you looking at the numbers stacked up right now?
I think we are very happy to see the numbers which is coming through, and we was very confident about it that the Mahayuti will come into the power with the big majority, because the main situation is this, that the opposition completely lost the track or lost the connections with the voters and the people of Maharashtra. When we came out with the Mukhyamantri Ladki Behan Yojana, it was such a powerful and such a big, you can say, the program to get a woman on standing on their own feet, giving them confidence. Rather than supporting that, the opposition came out and they was blaming women that who was taking participation in this program. And you will surprise, in women voters, if you look into the voting percentage, 6.5%.
What is taking place now, Dr. Wagmare, would be looking at the leadership issue post the declaration of results. If for a moment we believe that the NDA or Mahayuti is headed for a win in Maharashtra, do you believe that the issue of leadership is something?
Shift.
Just one sec. Do you believe that there would be a real question on leadership and who leads, given your position relative to the BJP?
See, this election has been fought in a leadership of Mr. Eknath Shinde, who is our leader, and the popularity of his
There's a complete reverse.
Okay, hold on,
There's
sir.
a complete
breaking
reverse
news.
which has
Maria, go ahead.
happened in Jharkhand now. We were seeing even Steven or perhaps NDA leading. What has happened now is that India has taken a 17-seat lead at 1023 from NDA.
Do we have Prabhakar with us?
There is a complete reverse which has happened in Jharkhand now. I think that's going to be a fascinating battle again. We have been saying, just hold on to your horses. This is too early to say anything. But what is becoming clear is that if these numbers actually, because it has turned in a matter of few seconds.
They lead in
49.
49. And the NDA leads in 30.
Yes, so there is a gap.
A huge gap building in favor of
seats.
India.
Building in favor of Hemant Soren, I would say.
I would absolutely.
The entire narrative of Soren having failed has now failed us.
I mean, so I think we really should not be, sort of jumping to conclusions right now, because it is very early.
Absolutely.
But I think Hemant Soren is really holding ground among the tribals. And that, I would say that, for the BJP, that would be a big disappointment, because they tried very hard for the tribal vote, using the infiltration narrative and, all sorts of other things. But I think Soren, there was a sympathy factor, his Maya Yojana scheme, and the issue of tribal identity.
So I
think
say,
that is the
when it is about the women voter, when they came out, we were, discussing that still an hour ago. They have gone with the schemes in both the states. If it is Maya Samman or Ladki Behan, now it is 50. They're only gaining now in
But Maria, I would say that apart from the women factor in Jharkhand, I think the tribal identity was very key, for those tribal seats.
So what happens now?
This would be a simple majority.
I was saying before you both came on the show in the first hour, that today we will see the clear predictability of an unpredictable verdict.
Okay, Rohan Gupta, how are you looking at Jharkhand? Now it's a reversal. clear reversal for you?
When we are looking at your numbers, I am looking at the EC side that only first round has been counted out of 20 rounds just because Jharkhand counting has started late. So hold your horses. अभी तो बैलेट हुआ है और वहाँ पे जो हरियाणा में हुआ वो झारखंड में आपको अभी थोड़ी देर में दिखेगा.
Rohan, is it your sense that the counting in Jharkhand has been a bit slow compared to Maharashtra? Is that on the basis of data that you're seeing?
Absolutely.
What it looks like?
Yes. Yeah.
And
yeah,
Rohan,
so
do you have
only
any
first round only first round
and in how many rounds, according to you, have been done in Maharashtra, by the way?
Around 7 rounds, 7 to 8 rounds.
7 to 8 rounds, right? And there are 13 total, correct?
That's been more in Maharashtra, I would say.
How many rounds?
16. On an average, 16 rounds.
Yeah.
On an average, 16 rounds.
Yes, so there is still a long way to go, but I think Jharkhand picture, because it has been a reversal, 51 now, that gap is consolidating in favor of India. It's 10-30 now, so we can tell our viewers that this is how the numbers are stacked up. Both the states, the trends have come in on all the number of seats, 288 in Maharashtra, 81 in Jharkhand. On these 288 seats, Mahayuti comfortably holding on. They are only increasing. They are above 200. So they are leading in 216 seats in Maharashtra. In Jharkhand, it is India bloc, which is standing now at 51. So it could be one good news for one bloc, India. The other one could be for the NDA. But I think...
Almost like Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir, right? One all.
Except that I would say that the Maharashtra elections are perhaps more crucial in terms of the national picture.
Yes.
Because it is the second largest state after UP in terms of representation in the Lok Sabha. Also the Mahayuti had done very badly in Maharashtra.
Yeah.
And I think that this really is a tribute to the way the Mahayuti hunkered down.
Flip from the Lok Sabha election.
To flip it in just a matter of 3 months, 4 months.
So we need to also look at certain parliamentary by-elections.
Yes.
In Budni, in fact, the Congress is leading, the seat which Shivrajji is vacating.
Right.
And in Karnataka. Yeah.
Ajit Pawar leading in Baramati, not much of a surprise because he had said that in the Lok Sabha, the mood was that Tai in Lok Sabha and Dada in Assembly. And he also, admitted during the course of that interview that he gave to us that during the Lok Sabha, it was his mistake to field his wife against Supriya Sule. So I think...
So Ajit Pawar leading in Baramati. There are along expected lines over there in a Pawar versus Pawar fight. It's all in the family. That is expected. We'll take a look at some of the other big faces. Let's keep rolling those graphics so that we go through some of the other big faces in the Maharashtra elections. Nana Patole, Sakoli, he is leading. That's some good news for the Congress party. Chhagan Bhujbal leading in Yevla is in fact trailing. Devendra Fadnavis leading in South Mumbai, Nagpur Southwest, sorry. Prafulla Gudade, Nagpur Southwest is trailing the Congress party.
Because in most of these seats in Vidarbha, Vishnu, it's a direct face-off between the BJP and the Congress. Go ahead.
And Nawab Malik is trailing as well of the NCP. So a prominent face of the NCP in this area, trailing Aditya Thackeray. Some good news, at least for the Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray faction. He's up against Milind Deora. Milind Deora of the Shiv Sena versus Shiv Sena battle is losing.
But that's the contest. That's the contest.
That is one of the most high-profile
Aditya Thackeray versus Milind Deora.
Sort of contests in Mumbai, certainly. Professor Shastri, the one point that people watching this broadcast would want to know is, again, we've seen in the case of Jharkhand a quick turnaround. We're told by the BJP that only one round of polling is now taken place and things might change. How does the process of counting rounds in an electronic voting machine scenario, how does that actually work?
They do it area by area, and the reason why you sometimes see a dramatic shift across rounds is that you get the EVMs opened in places where a particular party dominates, and that shows the shift in the trend. So in the past also, if you have seen a shift in the trend, it is largely because newer areas see the ballot paper opening, and within a constituency itself, there could be patterns in terms of voting. And that sometimes is reflected in this change across the across
you
the
know, I
different
remember one very dramatic election in Delhi.
Yes.
In 1991, I think it was, the New Delhi seat, and L.K. Advani was trailing. He was trailing till the last round when they opened the ballot boxes from Lajpat Nagar.
And
then he surged ahead by 2,500 votes. So, and he won that seat. So, it depends because, there are
He
areas...
won by less than 3,000 seats in that election.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That
3,000
was
votes.
thanks to Lajpat Nagar.
Yes.
So, Lajpat Nagar has traditionally been an RSS, BJP
and that, of course, voted
So that's why, when you see if ballot boxes are open from A area, it could be in favor of one party, then it goes to another area, suddenly
A
there's
word from Dolly Sharma now. Dolly Sharma, forget about, I'm sure you can have a view in which not look at Maharashtra, but look at Jharkhand. Jharkhand seems to be bringing some reasons for the India bloc to cheer. Early, yes, but still, it has reversed completely.
Like I said earlier, it is a pro-people agenda won the day. In Jharkhand, there were many issues, and like BJP did in Maharashtra, in Delhi, and now, and also in Jharkhand, the way they arrested the Chief Minister, Hemant Soren, everybody had seen that. And now people know, people of Jharkhand had voted for the government which worked for the people, which was ready to solve any problem that was there, whether it was women's issue, whether it was youth, whether it was any other issue. So they will definitely vote for India Alliance, and we will form government in Jharkhand for sure.
Okay. Let's look at region-wise now in Jharkhand and move from one region to another. We are looking at North Jharkhand now. India leading in 19 seats. They are up 5 from 2019. NDA down 3, leading in 14 as of now. That we are looking at 34 seats of 81 right now in north of Jharkhand. Shifting focus to Santal Pargana, this is 18 seats, India down 2, NDA leading in 3. Shifting focus now to South Jharkhand, 29 seats in all, India down 1, but NDA up 2. So the maximum number of seats are coming from North Jharkhand. Which are these areas? Is it Bokaro and all those urban pockets?
Urban pockets and also places where you have a significant non-tribal population. If you see where there is a strong tribal population, the JMM seems to be doing much better. So what we have been saying, that the BJP-led NDA alliance's prominence is in the non-tribal regions, whereas the JMM is more in the tribal regions. And we had said that the victory would be his or be of that party, which is able to do better in the pockets of the rival alliance. And obviously, if these trends hold, that's a big if, if these trends hold, the capacity of the NDA to break into tribal areas has been limited. If these trends hold, that's what it would be.
We're going to again go to the other part of the country now, Maharashtra. My colleague Anuj outside Eknath Shinde's residence at this stage. Anuj, give us a sense of what's happening around you.
Eknath Shinde is expected to leave for Mumbai in a short while, and here in Patspakhadi, this is the home constituency of Eknath Shinde, and behind me you see this is Eknath Shinde's personal residence. The number of supporters here is increasing slowly, and we'll eventually see more number of people thronging not just to this part of the city but also to also to the office of the Bharatiya Janata Party of Shinde Sena and of Ajit Pawar faction of NCP there in Mumbai, considering that the Mahayuti is on its way to get an unprecedented lead here in the 2024 Maharashtra State Assembly election. We've already seen or gotten hints of supporters making their way. You can see that the Shiv Sena flags, people holding Shiv Sena flags are here holding trying to gather outside Shinde's residence. While on one hand we've got the supporters of the Mahayuti parties beaming with confidence and excitement and joy. On the other hand, we also have the Mahavikas Aghadi leaders who have started casting doubts over the procedures on reason why they believe that this isn't the mandate which would be given by the Marathi Manus or the electorate of Maharashtra. But numbers as of now suggest that Mahayuti is having a clear-cut lead, as compared to Mahavikas Aghadi, which is falling short of not just Mahayuti but also of the Bharatiya Janata Party's number.
Eknath Shinde house in Thane. That's where Anuj was joining us. In Thane, a very fascinating battle, because in Panchpakari, Kokri, where the Chief Minister is contesting from, he's up against Kedar Dige. Kedar Dige is the nephew of Anand Dige, who was the mentor of the Chief Minister, that is Eknath Shinde, Kopri, Panchpakari, the Chief Minister leading. Not much of a surprise there. Kedar Dige trailing, and that was expected. Kedar Dige saying that Chief Minister was missing in action. On ground, it felt that Thane and the people of Thane had this sense that there was a sudden influx of projects, infrastructure projects in particular in Thane, because it was now the Chief Minister's district, home district. But Eknath Shinde, the man of the ground, I met him at midnight for the interview, and he gave me that impression that, certainly he was up the whole day, holding 7 to 8 rallies, clocking it across Maharashtra, and then sitting down for interviews. And in Varsha, it had opened up, the gates had opened up for the Janta. So the CM, he had rephrased it and said it was common man Chief Minister. CM for him was common man Chief Minister. So does it mean that the common man Chief Minister, Mr. Sirsa, could have the last laugh here? Eknath Shinde, the man of the moment, if these numbers hold, you'll have to give him all the credit for Ladki Behan.
No, definitely it's a collective credit, and it is a credit to our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The people in the entire country vote for him. Definitely when the Chief Minister is there, it is not that his share is not there. It is always there when the Chief Minister's face is there and our Chief Minister is there. But people want a double-engine Sarkar, and for that reason, the policies of the Honorable Prime Minister has given a good impact in the Maharashtra, and at the same time our alliance has worked day and night, and that is the reason that we are getting these good results.
It's translated into results. Aren't you at a point?
Yeah, Vishu, I think you asked a very interesting question, because this is the whole point. They did the Mahayuti did not project a chief ministerial face during the elections, and clearly the BJP is doing really well. Its strike rate so far seems to be,
so there'd be a BJP chief minister next time.
So will it be a BJP chief minister, or will it be
way ahead?
They are, but I think, as Maria pointed out, that Shinde had become sort of very much the face of this alliance.
In the and
a very acceptable.
And unlike Maharashtra politics, Maharashtra politics is about flamboyance to a great degree as well.
That's right. So can you just rule him out as a chief ministerial candidate post election? I think that's a really interesting question.
Which is much more than the combined Mahavikas Aghadi.
Correct. If I could just make a point here, it's going to be if these numbers hold, it's going to be very difficult for the BJP to convince its cadres that we don't have the chief minister at this stage. Yet, you cannot rule out the fact that the Shinde's leadership in Maharashtra over the last recent times has helped the party consolidate its position. The Maratha vote is critical. So, I think it's if these trends hold, it's a very difficult decision which the alliance will need to take, its leadership will need to take.
Absolutely.
With regard to who becomes the chief minister.
And I think this Ladki Behan scheme is very much identified with Shinde.
Yes,
he's very much identified. Absolutely. He inaugurated the scheme. The BJP did not seem to be too enthusiastic about it actually initially. So, can you really rule him out as a possible chief minister?
But it's quite clear that
But yes, the BJP is doing far better. Its strike rate is far better,
yes,
no question.
And interesting observation, really at 10:40, the BJP is a low number is twice that of Mahavikas Aghadi. So their strike rate, of course, is almost 70-80% in that alliance. They had contested on 149, leading in 125. In 2019, it was 105. There is a gain of 20 plus seats. So, but it's a fascinating thing what has happened there. Shiv Sena, again, they contested on 81 seats. That is Shiv Sena of Eknath Shinde, the chief minister there, leading in 55. In 2019, it was 41. So they have also made a gain of 14. And the weak link here is actually Ajit Pawar. He contested on 59, his party, that is the NCP. They are leading in 35, so they are -6. But it is the BJP which is actually holding on this alliance. The anchor, the word that you used, Professor Shastri, it's very clear that the BJP is holding on. And similarly, it is -23 for the Congress. So the anchor certainly seems to be pulling this up. And at the same time, it is Eknath Shinde who's helping that rise.
Can I just say that, there have been, it's SOP versus SOP. We see this in election after election. And in as much as we talk about the Ladki Bahin Yojana, the Mahayuti had offered more through the Mahalakshmi scheme, 3,000 rupees versus 2,100 rupees. But this is a space which the BJP has completely taken. Because of implementation, for example, in Madhya Pradesh, where they rolled it out, it was absolutely fascinating. This is a narrative that they built up which works across the country.
Vishnu, the key word you used is implementation.
Yeah.
These schemes have been promised by different parties over the last 15, 20 years. And many of them have not been able to do well because of the promise. That's because of the past experience of the people with the implementation of programs. Here, what we are noticing is a perception that a particular party which promises a scheme is actually implementing the scheme, therefore we go back to that party. So I think it's more a perception on implementation rather than a perception on promise.
Okay, just hold on one sec. Let's go across to...
Mumbai BJP Vice President is joining us. Hitesh, you can say, I told you so. It's not just about Mumbai alone, where you, of course, were part of the strategy, but it appears that across Maharashtra, it is good news for the entire alliance. What do you think worked in this alliance?
Well, I think multiple factors. One, there was this alliance who really projected to win the election. They were on the front foot. The policies were there. The campaign was there. It was a comparison between a 2.5 years of speed breaker of MBA versus 2.5 years of campaign of Mahayuti. Now, when you look at the campaign of MBA, it was only negativity. And negativity, Maria, as you know, as you have been an experienced person who have looked at the campaign and all, negativity does not really sell. What sells in Maharashtra, and if you look at the track record of the Maharashtra since 87, the pattern of voting and all, and I remember at the time when the exit polls, just right after the election, as soon as the voting percentages was coming, when it was like 63, 64, people were trying to give all sorts of narrative, kate ki takkar, this thing. I said the day Maharashtra is given a historic mandate, you are going to see a historic result and mandate on the counting day, and which is what is being seen on the ground.
Mr. Jain, I'm just curious to know that, when it came to the Ladki Bahin Yojana scheme, we were talking just now about implementation. As I understand it, 5 installments of payments of 1,500 rupees have reached a whopping 2.3 crore women already in Maharashtra. So do you believe, just in terms of implementation and not just election promises so far, people are saying, look, I've already got this money, it's come in on time. Delivery is something which goes in your favor.
There is one more point. So implementation, delivery, but Vishnu, when 1,500 rupees were announced, Ladki Bahin Yojana, what was MBA doing? MBA was opposing. MBA was telling the state treasury is empty. Where are you going to give the money? They went to the court to stop the scheme. And look at the irony. When their campaign came, they say not 1,500, we are going to give you 3,000 rupees. Now look at the crisis of credibility of the MBA leadership. They say state has no money. It is not the question of Mahayuti's intention. They were telling that the state has no money to give 1,500 rupees And here is a party going ahead and trying to give making a promise of 3,000. Then there were some election panditries who were trying to compare, oh, this is a scheme that was given only on the eve of the election. I mean, it's not like Shivraj Singh Chauhan. They tried to compare with Madhya Pradesh. It ran for 5 years. So this is not going to be a factor. People were trying to bring like soya bean. People were trying to bring jarange. People were trying to bring localized seat by seat and all. But if you will look at the mandate and the manner in which the results will come at the end of the day, when the leads will get firmed up, it was a victory across Maharashtra, across the board. And I think what people in Maharashtra has really brought is the leadership of Prime Minister Modi.
So Mr. Jain, leadership was my next question, and I think Aarti also wanted to get clarity on this. Now, assuming for a moment that these leads translate into results, you have a very effective chief minister right now. You know what the question is, but I'll ask it nonetheless. You have a very effective chief minister in your alliance in Eknath Shinde right now, but you have done very well if these leads translate into results. Would your cadre be satisfied with a non-BJP chief minister?
Vishnu, I anticipated this question, but just to give you the same answer which was given by our senior party leader Amit Shah ji in Mumbai. He said that post-mandate, all the three leaders of all the three parties, Mahayuti, will sit together and then they will decide and they will take the decision accordingly.
Very diplomatic. That was the right thing to be said, Mr. Jain, at this stage.
All right.
But Mr. Sirsa,
well, we have always said, I think all throughout the campaign, we have said the right things. Okay. I think our campaign was positive and we had a lot of support from the organization also.
Mr. Sirsa, now you're looking at these results, leads I should say, the MVA trailing massively at this stage. The Congress party itself is down 21 in terms of leads at this juncture. There would be many more rounds, perhaps more than 8 rounds, which would have been counted. We are progressively getting into the stage when we can point at a direction these elections are taking. How would you respond or look at the overall situation in Maharashtra?
So it is not just when it is a two-third with a two-third of majority. And one must always appreciate that we were there almost from two and a half years.
Right.
In spite of saying by the opposition कि यहाँ तो कुछ किया ही नहीं, यहाँ तो कोई काम ही नहीं हुआ, ये तो प्रदेश के अंदर
Okay, so
पैसा ही
just
नहीं
one
आया,
second. Can I just put that question across to Dolly? Can I just put that question across to Dolly? How do you see the numbers, Dolly, at this stage?
Yeah. See, like I said earlier, the way BJP misused the power, we have seen them distributing money, use the muscle power, and also you must have seen last election. केन प्रकारेण चाहे सरकार बने ना बने, बीजेपी को तो सरकार तोड़कर भी, पार्टियां तोड़कर भी अपनी सरकारें बनाई हैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने. सो इट्स ऑब्वियस कि जो वो लोग, उनको किसी भी तरीके से सरकार बनानी होती है. तो ये जो रिजल्ट है आपके सामने है, वो हमने पूरे महाराष्ट्र में देखा कि किस तरीके से खुला नोट उन्होंने बांटा और इलेक्शन कमीशन आंखें मूंद कर बैठा रहा. I think this also you must discuss in front of the people.
Hitesh will respond to that. Hitesh, you know that entire Vinod Tawde incident, was that an embarrassment for you all?
Till yesterday they were saying.
Not only Vinod Tawde, there were other incidents happened in Pune,
Maria, there were,
in Nagpur.
I mean, I think, as I mentioned to you,
money. It was not one incident of Vinod Tawde.
Yes, please, Hitesh, go ahead. Was that an embarrassment? Of course, he filed a defamation suit, but it was caught on camera.
The time for posturing is over. They made a charge that Vinod Tawde was found with 5 crore. That was the statement that was made. Nobody saw the 5 crore rupees, where it came from and all. On the contrary, Maria, on the contrary, more than 20 leaders of NBA were caught distributing money in their different constituency. But be that as it may, there are larger issues to be discussed. Not this. Of course, they have to clutch on the straws to explain their embarrassing defeat. But Maria, one of the very important campaign statement we should not overlook is Aditya Thackeray. When we were looking at Mumbai, we were looking at coastal road, we were looking about metro. His campaign was so regressive. He says, Uddhav Thackeray said, we will remove MMRDA, we will stop the large projects,
leading, by the way, Mr.
And
Jain.
what we will offer is BEST buses to the people of Mumbai. Now, this is the city where, the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had promised that he will make it like a Shanghai and all.
Okay.
And what is the vision they were offering was the vision of offering BEST buses to the people
Okay,
of Mumbai.
Mr. Jain, half a second. It does need to be said that when I looked last time around, Aditya Thackeray was actually leading over Milind Deora, but there is some reactions now coming in from the Mahavikas Aghadi. The Shiv Sena's UBT leader Sanjay Raut says, and I quote, "They've done some gadbad, they've stolen some of our seats. This cannot be the public's decision.
Okay.
Even the public does not agree with these results. Once the results are out, we will talk more."
Okay.
So a sense of denial now creeping into the MVA.
Well, Vishnu, I think people should give less importance to what Sanjay Raut was saying. I think for 5 years he was entertaining all the people, all the journalists is concerned. And one more point I would like to make. Like Sanjay Raut, there was a section of a journalist in Maharashtra also who amongst them was saying about the MBA is leading, the narrative of MBA and all. It is, I think this verdict is also somewhere, they will also have to introspect. They used to use the words like Purogami and all, and they did not realize Maharashtra has moved ahead. Maharashtra is aspirational. Maharashtra doesn't want to get into the caste conflict. Maharashtra wants development, and Maharashtra wants to compete at a high, you have Mumbai, you have a Maharashtra, which is a very important state. And if you again look at the campaign, that is the difference today. Mahayuti was talking about taking Maharashtra ahead, giving the speed to the progress and development of Maharashtra. While, as I was speaking to you earlier, Aditya Thackeray was promising BEST buses to people in Mumbai. All these hard questions, nobody was asking the NBA leaders. They were, I think the journalists in Maharashtra also were asking, about the family, about it was just about the families, the dynasts and all.
All right, Mr.
But
Jain,
that's a hard
I get what you're saying. Aarti, it almost seems, if you look at what Sanjay Raut's statement, which I read out a little while back, is what we saw with the Congress party in Haryana, the sense of disbelief, then going to the Election Commission, writing letters even before the day was done, saying that there's something terribly wrong over here, you messed up here, there.
I think this preemptive...
It's sort of that preemptive, good word, effort at going out to the EC or feeling out the EC seems to have begun.
that stealing of the mandate, I think that's overdone now.
The gadbad, they have done some gadbad.
That gadbad thing is, that should apply also in Jharkhand.
It was a narrow victory. I think, maybe, that argument may still have had some, some sense. But in this kind of a victory, it is a sweeping victory. They're heading towards a 2/3 mandate.
Never seen before in Maharashtra.
Mr. Jain, how many rounds according to your data? How many rounds according to your data has been counted in Maharashtra? Do you have an update, Mr. Jain, in front of you? How many rounds has been counted in Maharashtra?
Well, Maharashtra, you have like 5 to 7 rounds that are counted. And most of the places, I will give you one more data which I have in front of me. Most of the candidates of Mahayuti are winning over 15, 20, 25,000. The leads are consolidating. And if you look at the leads of MBA, they still have some 15 to 18 seats where they're